Alright guys, I'm live. Let me know if you can hear me alright. What's going on? How's everybody doing? I wanted to talk about a few things, and mostly we're going to talk about the growing trend. I guess it's kind of grown. It's been going on. Oh shit, was I not? I think I wasn't live, and I just started going live now, and you guys missed like half of what I was saying. But what's up, guys? How you doing? I wanted to talk today about the growing trend on the right, on people on the right wing of things who seem to be inadequate when it comes to sex and sexuality. They really don't like it. I guess I can't really say. Well, it is growing, but it's not like a new trend. It's been going on for a while. Let me sip my coffee and make a bunch of noise while I do so. Not enough noise, I guess. Can you guys hear me all right? Let me know. Let me pop up the chat. I'm asking if you guys can hear me. I'm not even looking at the chat. What's up, TJ, Marino, Billy, Hellbound? Yeah, that's about it. But first I want to talk about what people have a problem with understanding what statistics actually are. And they just look at numbers and they use their own biased conclusion and think that those numbers, hey Kelly, and they think those numbers lead to their conclusion, right? It's a form of confirmation bias, obviously. Hey Tiffany. And but people are really obsessed with birth rates right now, right? And of course, most of the people who are obsessed with birth rates, they're obsessed with race as well. It's all these people who are like, oh, white nationalists, we gotta save the race, the white race, and they want to talk about birth rates and shit like that, and they don't understand how birth rate statistics work. They don't understand the birth rates are always in flux. They're always, events within the nations cause different rises and drops, and I'll give you a good example of that. What's up, Devin? I got into an argument one time with some guy about Japan. What's up, Edward? And hey, Mike Pierce too. All right, everybody's popping up. I got into an argument with a guy. It wasn't about Japan. It was about Western civilization. Is Alf in a toilet? What, do I sound off? Maybe I should use my other mic. I should use my professional mic instead of my headset. Hold on, let me switch mics. My headset is kind of shitty. Be like 1 second. Oh, I am using the blue snow. That's why I sounded like, okay. That'll sound better now. I was using the professional mic, but it was put away. I just flicked it out. So I was having an argument one time. This was probably like a year ago about Western civilization, and people, a guy was arguing with me saying that the West, white people were the only people to advance civilization. They're the only ones doing well. And I brought up the point that, what about Japan? Japan's doing great. And his argument against Japan was, well, what about their birth rates? They'll be gone soon, and this and that. Like, how ridiculous is that to think that Japan is going to be gone soon, that there won't be Japanese people soon because their birth rates are declining. But, he showed me a stat, right? And I look at the stat, and the stat goes from 1950 to now, right? So, if we put some historical context to it, what happened to Japan right before 1950, right? They were in World War II, and they got nuked. 2 major cities got nuked. They were morally destroyed. So they had a massive baby boom. Of course, their birth rates were going to be high as fuck at that time, right? It was super high. And they've had a steady decline since. But that's regulation. They had a massive baby boom, and their birth rates have regulated, and they also were building up. They just were. 2 major cities were destroyed. They were morally crippled, and they had to build themselves back up, and they have. I mean, they're at the forefront of technology. Their country's got a great economy. So, this is the funny thing about birth rates. And if you look at Japanese birth rates, even now, they're not much lower than the average birth rates of countries on the West if you count their native populations and you don't count immigration. Japan is very restrictive on immigration. They don't allow much of it, so they don't have a replacement. Yeah, baby boomers, fucking baby boomers. Um, but they don't have a replacement rate. So, like, if you look at Germany, for instance, Germany's birth rates for Germans is the same as Japan's birth rates, but Germany allows immigration, so they have a huge replacement rate, and that puts their birth rates above Japan's, above the average birth rate because of that. But if Japan just started allowing some more immigration, the more immigration they allow, the more replenishment there's going to be. The more it'll even out. So this is what I'm talking about when I say that people don't understand statistics. They don't get it. They put a biased conclusion to it. So let's go on to the tweet that I tweeted earlier and asked people if they wanted me to stream about it. A lot of people said yes. So I'm doing it, bro. Let's see. Let's show you guys this crap. I'm sure a lot of you people already saw it, especially since I saw it, especially since I tweeted it. Can you guys see it? Let's see. Why isn't it showing? Oh, there it is. Let me, make it bigger. Beep, boop, beep, beep, boop. Yeah, so this guy, Peter Sweden, I thought maybe this guy was like a massive like white nationalist guy, but I've seen him tweet later on talk, I was wrong about that, I think, because I seen him tweet later on about a Palestinian girl who is living in Sweden and they want to deport her as she's an 18-year-old. He doesn't want her to be deported because she fled her country because of forced marriage. She didn't want to be forced married. She's a very pretty girl. She's 18. She fled her country and moved to, or maybe it was Pakistan. Sorry, I'm saying Palestinian. She's Pakistani. And she fled her country to go to Sweden so she doesn't have to be forced into marriage with some dude she doesn't love, And Sweden wants to deport her. A bunch of people from that area, this guy's Norwegian, a bunch of people from Sweden, a bunch of people from Norway are fighting against it. They want her to stay, which is cool. That's awesome. But here, let's talk about this because I don't understand the weird. Devin's like 18. I'm listening. Yeah, you should see her, Devin. She's a super pretty, very pretty girl. But yeah, it seems like people are starting to get really obsessed with, especially people on the right are getting really obsessed with sex, getting really obsessed with birth rates and saving the white race and all this stuff. So Peter Sweden says, let's talk about sex in Norway. 70% of Norwegians have one-night stands, highest in the world. Sounds like a fun country to me. I don't understand what the problem with that is. I don't get it why people have a problem with one-night stands. If two consenting adults want to bang, let them bang. I don't see a problem with that. Oh, this guy is Swedish. I'm Peter Emanuelson. Swedish, okay. So, but he's talking about Norway. Average number of sexual partners is 12. I mean, if people want to have 12 partners, I really don't see a problem. Alf isn't a white nationalist. No, I'm looking to take over the United States with brown people. We want to replace the white people. Average age women marry is 32. I mean, if people want to wait, that's cool. But if you're looking to have kids, might be a little bad to start that late. But hey, whatever. People could do whatever they want. I don't understand why people want to change people's ideas and stuff. But the result: 40% of marriages end in divorce. That's not a big deal. 40% of marriages end in divorce in Norway. I think it's like 60-something% in America ends in divorce. And I don't even. I think the average age of women marrying is way lower than that in America. So this statistic doesn't really work. I think this is more of a correlation isn't always causation kind of thing. Like it just doesn't make sense. Fertility is 1.56 kids. Makes sense if women are getting married at the age of 32. They don't have much time to have kids, so they're probably having 1 or 2 kids. Makes sense. Norway is literally erasing himself. This is the part that I say is stupid. That makes no sense. One, how does a people erase themselves? It doesn't make any sense. They don't erase themselves. That doesn't happen. When has anybody ever bred themselves out? I don't know how that even works. Norwegians are still Norwegians. They're still having kids. 1.56 kids is still having kids. Maybe you're going to lower your population, but you won't disappear. And if your population gets low enough, people are going to start popping out more kids. It's only natural they would do that. It's very, like I said, birth rates fluctuate, and it's usually to do with events going on. Like when there's massive wars, there's baby booms, and yeah, I think if it was a continuing trend, and the population got small enough, people would start banging more, and they start popping out kids more. But to me, the answer to this would be ban. If you got a problem with people not having kids, but they're all having crazy one night stands, you'd think the answer would be to ban condoms, right? People would just be popping out kids out of marriage. Who cares? At least they're having kids, and Norwegians won't erase themselves. It's what a ridiculous concept to say that a nation of people are erasing themselves. That doesn't make any sense. Now he says, think about this. The average number of partners is 12. There are many that have had substantially more. So, who cares? There's also people who've had substantially less. It is not the unusual to find people who have been with 20 or more partners. Okay, that means that these people know how to have fun to me. They're enjoying themselves. They're having a good life. I'm sure they don't regret all of those. They're probably enjoying those. This is a recipe for unhappy marriages. See, this is the shit I did a stream about last week with LP saying this shit, and he showed a statistic that didn't even work. It made no sense. I completely destroyed that. And this guy's saying the same thing. Because people have had, well, I guess that doesn't matter. Because people have had 20 or more partners, that means that they're going to have an unhappy marriage? Why? And we see that almost half end in divorce. Again, he's saying correlation. He's using correlation to say it's the cause of this. It's not. You're retarded. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. You need around a fertility of 2.1 to sustain a population. Over what length of time? You know what I'm saying? How many generations is that? You don't think that the birth rates will change? If you look, I've looked at the Norwegian birth rates. It was a pain in the ass to find. It took me forever to look for it. But I looked at the Norwegian birth rates for like the last 100 years. And yeah, they were way higher at the beginning. Of course, we're talking about the beginning. I'm talking about like early 1900s. And yeah, people didn't have anything to distract them. No TV, no internet. People were popping out kids like crazy all over the world before we had technology and things to distract us. Because there was nothing else to do. We were bored as fuck, and there was nothing to distract us from wanting to bang everything in sight. But yeah, over time, that dropped. But there's been spikes, like every couple of decades, there's spikes where it goes back up and then comes back down and then goes back up. And then for like the last like 4 decades, it's been a spike of going up and down, up and down, up and down. So as you see, it's in constant flux. So to say you need 2.1 to sustain your population, for how long? You know what I'm saying? Eventually, after a couple generations, it's going to spike again and people are going to be having kids again. It's a really, what do you call that? Like a doomsday cultish kind of mentality to say, oh my God, we need to breed more. We're erasing ourselves. At least not like this part of it. Migrants are not the problem. I mean, sometimes they are, but at least he's not just blaming migrants. But I mean, it's really not a problem. That's the big issue here, is that he's finding this to be a problem that's not a problem. People are enjoying their lives. If they want to wait to have kids, and they're going to wait to have kids. It's like, it's also like you see this a lot more in Western nations and more higher IQ nations like Japan and some Asian countries where they don't have as many kids. Their birth rates are low because if you remember the old Mike Judge movie Idiocracy, where in the beginning it shows you he says yeah, dumb hickish people like rednecks are popping out like 8 to 10 kids in their lifetimes, while the really smart people who are having careers and business oriented are like waiting longer to have kids. And sometimes for some of them the time passes and then they can't have kids and they never end up having kids. But that's just the way it is. I think smarter people tend to want to wait till they're prepared to have kids till they do. How do Peruvians give birth or lay eggs? We lay eggs in corpses. like in Aliens, and then and then we burst out of that person's chest. Alpha is filled with the power of Ogun. Yeah, that's true. Um, it's the flip side of the book, The Population Bomb. I don't know what the population bomb is. Quality versus quantity. I agree with that, Val. It's true. Yeah. This is a problem. That's why dumb people pop out multiple kids. All those kids end up growing up fucked up because you can't pay attention to that many kids and give them all the attention they need and the love they need and uh, you know, you got to teach your kids and stuff. You can't do that if you have too many kids. But again, we should welcome real refugees, like Christians, of course, Christians. We know what this guy is now. You know, migrants aren't the problem when they're not Christians, but all other ones are. Fleeing prosecution from Iran. The problem in the West is hedonism in ourselves. Why is hedonism a problem? Here's the thing that these people forget. It's funny that they have a very selective memory when it comes to trends, historical trends. Let's take the United States, for instance. The 60s, like, you know, maybe the early 60s to like the mid 70s was a time of free love in America. You know, we had what they call the sexual revolution. People were coming out their shell, banging like crazy. Maybe they went a little overboard. All right. That could, you know, I'm not going to dispute that. But what was there right before that? Right before that was the 50s, right? A time of super sexual repression. You know, people didn't get divorced, rarely got divorced. People stuck together, whether their husband was abusive, they didn't give, you know, they had to stay because if they left their husband, even though their husband was getting drunk and beating the shit out of them every night, they had to stay because if they didn't, they would be shamed by their communities. You know what I'm saying? Teen pregnancies, girls who were teen pregnancies, there's times in the, Mike says Alpha's a teenager in the 60s, right? In the 50s, if a teenager got pregnant, that was hidden. That wasn't, you know, people were ashamed of that. The communities would shame your family for that. So they would hide that. And that's not something that went away in the 50s. That kept going. I grew up with kids in the 80s who, before they were a teenager, they thought their grandparents were their parents. Truth be told, it was their sister, who they thought was their sister, was actually their mother. And they didn't know that because it was hidden, because they felt ashamed and they hid it from the community. You know, they didn't want people to know that. So they pretended that it was their son, you know, that their grandson was actually their son, you know, and their daughter was actually, you know, the sister of the son. But, you know, she was actually the mom. So you know, the sexual revolution was kind of a way to say, hey, we don't want this lifestyle, and it leads to that. So if we go back to another sexual repressed society where we're going to shame people for getting divorced, or we're going to shame people for having sex outside of marriage, you know, if we're going to shame, I mean, we kind of should shame teen pregnancy, but, you know, it happens, and once it's happened, you can't really shame it because, you know, that person's, you know, they need help to raise their kids. It's going to happen. You know, their parents got to help them. They got to figure something out. It happens. You know what I'm saying? You can't do much about it. But yeah, if we go back to that kind of society, a decade after that, we're going to revert back to a sexual revolution. And these guys don't get that they're trying to go back to the cause of the sexual revolution in order to fight the sexual revolution. Makes no sense. Really what we should do is probably try to teach people that there's a balance to these things. Don't go all nuts and bang like 30 people, but also, you know, if, you know, you want to have sex, you know, have sex responsibly, do what you want to do, you know? So what do? No sex until marriage. Good luck with that. How well does that go? You know, even in the 50s, if you want to talk about time of sexual repression, people were still having sex outside of marriage. It just wasn't spoken about. People were doing it hidden, in secret. Men were cheating on their wives all the time. You know what I'm saying? As, you know, as it always happens. You're never going to have a time where people aren't going to have sex until they're married. It's not going to happen. That's bullshit. All that happens is you're making it be hidden instead. Marry early, bad idea. I think that's the problem in America, why we have huge divorce rates, because marriage is was always kind of forced on people. Not forced, but women are kind of taught to, like, hey, we want to get married right away, and, you know, the woman's always trying to push the guy to get married. I know tons of people who got married right out of high school. Sometimes it works out, but I think more often than not it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Because those people want experiences. If you don't have experiences, you marry some dude before you had sex. You know, a girl marries some dude before she had sex. 10 years down the line, that dude's not going to be pleasing her. She's going to be looking at other dudes. You know what I'm saying? Same the other way around. You know, guys want to experience multiple women. I know I do. I didn't want to get married after. I wanted to bang all the chicks I could until I was like 30 years old, you know? So, yeah, there was no way anybody was. I was gonna get married before any. You know, at an early age. Never. It just. I know that if I did, that would lead to divorce. Have many babies. Yeah, let's just pop out babies irresponsibly. And traditional values. What does traditional values even mean? I know what he means by traditional values, but I like how they just put that. Why did he just say what he means? Christian values, because that's what he means, right? He means Christian values. That's what he's talking about. Um, which is ridiculous. We don't need Christian values. Let me read the chat a little bit before I go there. My girl doesn't want this, so I'm freezing some ropes. Obscurity Alpha, I don't know what that means. What do you want? Not that I know of. No sex until marriage. Yeah, stupid. To adopt your kid and the diaper era. Actually, yeah, more people should probably adopt. There's a lot of kids out there who need parents and need guidance and stuff. That's the problem with just popping out kids, is that you're not going to give kids proper guidance if you have a lot of babies. I, sorry, I had to burp. Excuse me. I hate to get personal, but was that you next to a guy who got killed by a Satanist? Okay, I have no idea what that means. Just say no, that works well. Women are cheating. To who do you think those guys you are having sex with? Yeah, obviously. Well, not always. I mean, those guys sometimes have sex with single women. I mean, I've known many single women who have had sex with married men and vice versa. They don't have to be. They don't have to be cheating as well. But yeah, it does happen sometimes. Sometimes both are cheating. Why can't these losers just say they hate their sex life? End of story. Exactly. 100%. Who was killed by sin? Yeah, I don't know what he's saying. Mike says women love being pregnant and in the kitchen. Yeah, I've heard that. There's guys, you know, you hear that on the internet all the time on Twitter where they're like, "Oh, women are only happy when they're, you know, in the kitchen and pregnant. Now they're getting pushed into these careers and they're being depressed." I doubt it. I'm sure it happens to some extent. I'm sure women. I'm sure there's women who want to have kids and they keep putting off having kids so that they, you know, for their career, and then eventually their career takes over their lives and they miss their point. I'm sure there's women that happens to, but I'm sure there's women. I've known many women who don't want to have kids. I always thought they were going to get older and change their minds, but now I'm 40. I have many female friends around my age and they still don't have kids, still don't want kids. So everybody's different. It's strange to lump everybody, look at a statistic and lump everybody into it. The point of statistics, the point of statistics is that we're looking at an average. So when you look at an average, it doesn't mean all. Obviously, it means, you know, some higher, some less, some in the average. Women get feelings of wanting to settle down. Not all of them do. No. It's easier to blame it on someone else, though. Wait, hold on. I'm skipping ahead and I'm missing it. It's rolling. You guys are chatting too fast. Chill out. Shoes for women were a mistake. Yes. It's easy to blame it on someone else, Devin. Alf Benny, will you be the chairman of the board for... yeah, hell yeah. Anybody who wants sperm, let me know. We'll work on a price. Divorce rates are going down because people are waiting longer to get married. Yeah, it is going down now. People are waiting longer. That is true. But for a long time, even now, I mean, it was 50% for a while, but it went up to like 60-something%. And now it's starting to go back down again. But it's still, like 64% divorce rate is huge. And I think people get married really young in the United States. So, I mean, it's, like you said, people are waiting longer now. So that's true. That's good. Women get feelings of wanting to settle. Oh, yeah, I read that already. Traditional values equals white values, yeah. The Hobbit was about putting a ring on it, and he was shorter than Elf. Was he, though? Oh my god, how many times would that happen? I don't know. Everyone, is it wrong to say that your poo is crowding? Also, if anybody wants to come in, I'm in the AIU chat and live streaming. Just let me know, because I'll have to drag you in if you don't have, if you're not a mod. Benny, I was talking to Carter. Oh, okay, sorry. Society wants dudes to have families because that keeps them stable as they work to provide. I hear that, but what society wants isn't what's going to happen. People do what they want to do. Yeah, we have some conformists out there who are going to do what society tells them, but you're always going to have people who are going to do what they're going to do and say fuck society. I mean, that's mostly what the whole punk movement was about, was fuck conformity, fuck society. We're going to do what we want to do. We're not going to live how our parents lived. We're going to live our way. And you're always going to have people like that. You're always going to have people who want to live there. Does Alf live in a city? Yes, I live in a heavily condensed, tiny city. It's the most densely populated city in the United States. He lives in a landfill. I live close to a landfill, but not in one. That is an obscurity part. Blah, blah, blah. I never know what you're talking about, Alan. I'm sorry. Um, Mexicans have lots of babies. That's true. I think Hispanics in general tend to have lots of babies. My parents did it. My parents only had two kids, but I've known most Hispanic. Like, maybe it's an older thing too, but I mean, Hispanics have lots of kids in general. My parents only had two, but both of my parents are of families of like seven, eight siblings. But they were born in the '40s, so I mean, that's a completely different thing. Yeah, making fun of how I statistics. Yeah, too many Carters. I agree, Tiffany. Outed Alpha as a drunk. Yeah. I didn't get much sleep last night. I stayed up all night talking to Grant, and I ended up only getting like 2 hours of sleep for work. Fucking guy. Well, I think he didn't get much sleep either because we were talking about being in bands when we were younger for till like 2 in the morning. Or maybe one, somewhere in there. I only donate sperm manually. Did you guys see Chris Hansen? Yes, I actually was talking to Grant about that last night. Pretty funny. Yeah, Chris Hansen for like the last 2 months has been streaming with Blair White, Repsion. Is that how you say his name? Repsion. The two people who have been talking about Onision for years. He talked to like three of his ex-girlfriends. He's going after him, and there's a possibility he got one girl who's willing to testify and has proof that she sent her nude pictures to Onision's husband, wife, whatever. It's a woman who's non-binary, so he calls her his husband. Don't know. I don't know how that works. Don't even care. But the person's name is Kai, and yeah, Mike Blair is a guy, and yeah, she sent pictures of herself nude to Kai on Kai's request when she was 16. She has proof of this, and Chris Hansen said, well, if you're willing to testify and you have proof of this, we can take this to federal court, and they could possibly spend, 10 plus years in federal prison for this. So there's a possibility Chris Hansen's going to go after Onision, and there's a possibility Onision's going to end up in federal prison. He did a joke about it where he did a fake interview where he took what's his name, Hansen talking, and then he was like did his own responses to it as if it was an interview, like at the same time. Really corny. I watched it. Sion is such a corny dude. But yeah, that's funny, man. And oh my god, I would laugh so hard if he ends up in federal fucking fuck you in the ass prison. I haven't seen that. I'll have to find that video you said to do. I said doo. To be honest, the trad life is pretty awesome. It can be, but I mean, I'm not against the trad life. I'm against people telling you have to live a trad life, I think live the life you want to live. If trad life is your thing and you just want to be married and not be promiscuous, that's totally cool. But if you don't want that and you want to be promiscuous before you settle down, that's totally cool too. People should live their life is short, man. Enjoy your life and live the way you want to live it. As long as you're not fucking over other people and doing fucked up shit to other people, who cares? You live the way you want to live. It's your life. PGW said conservatism is the new punk, though. Yeah. Well, let's not get into that, Burrito. Alan said always being, yeah, I'm sorry, Alan. Half the times you comment or say things, I don't know what you're talking about. It's probably because I'm out of context and I'm just catching like every other thing you're saying, but my apologies. Carter Cole says, I totally agree, Alpha. I was just trying to make the point that I don't think that men owe having family to society, just like we are not required to produce economic output, but society wants us to, yeah. What do cats taste like? I'm not going to answer that. Tastes like fish. blah. Men are loyal. Marriage stabilizes women, in my opinion. Men are loyal? No, I don't know if I can agree with that. I think to a certain extent, men are loyal in a certain way, not the same way women are loyal. I think men and women are both can be loyal, but they're loyal in different ways. Men will stay with their woman even if they're out sleeping with other women. They'll still bring home the bacon, take care of their stuff at home. And but do you call that being loyal? That they're sleeping around? I don't know. Men want to bang. That's just the nature of it. It's the truth. It's our biological function. We want to plant our seed in as many eggs as we possibly can. That's what we're born to do. That's our biological function. So, I mean, men can be loyal. You can fight that urge and be loyal, but in the end, you're always gonna have that urge. I've been with girlfriends and not cheated, but guess what? I look at other chicks. I jerk off thinking of other chicks while I'm with a girl. You know what I'm saying? It happens because that's your biological function. You can't help that. Your lizard brain is like, oh, look at that ass over there. I know you got this woman that you're holding hands with, but look at that fucking bouncy ass over there. Look at those boobies. I'm like, damn. So I sent nudes to Anicia too. Good job. Is Kai short for? I'm not gonna say that out loud. It's like Gripers rise up. Very skeptical about anything happening to him. Yeah, maybe not. I'm just saying there's a possibility. If it does, it's funny. Maybe his wife, but I doubt even that. Well, there's also lots of forums he took down that apparently he had a lot of 14 to 16-year-old girls there sharing pictures with him and stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. If you watch those Chris Hansen videos, I skipped through a bunch of them, and there's a lot of fucking like incriminating shit. But again, that's just people saying that. We'll have to see if they produce the proof and what happens. We know Chris Hansen doesn't have any qualms of going after people who do these kind of things. Logos. Alpha's and Incan, that's so trad. Yeah, chopping off heads and eating hearts. That's what we do. Know I'm saying? Let's not get into that burrito. Hey, Mike, burritos aren't Peruvian, man, alright? That's just Mexican. Just because you married one doesn't mean you know about all Hispanics, alright? Live the life you want to live. Yeah, that's true. We need to stop Hispanics from turning USA into Brazil? What? I don't know about that. Not all Hispanics live in places like Brazil, but also, I don't think they want to turn it into Brazil. There are no absolutes. Exactly. Not if they're getting enough sex at home. Not true. Men want to plant as many seeds in as many women as possible. Trust me. As a man who's 40 years old, known tons of men, has many friends who are males, talks to males all the time. Men want to plant seeds in everything they can, and every egg they can. We just restrict ourselves from doing it. I'm not saying every man does that, acts on those, but that's what we want. That's our desire. Our subconscious desire. I don't even think it's subconscious. We all know we're doing it. We all know we're checking out all the chicks, and we're all thinking like, damn, if I could bang that broad. We're all thinking that. We're all completely chauvinistic in that way. It's natural. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just, if you're going to be, the whole thing for me is if you're going to be in a relationship, cheating on your woman is a dishonesty. So personally, when I'm in a relationship, I'm honest about telling women, look, I'm going to look at other women. I'm going to fantasize about other women. I can't help that. That's the way my brain works. Sometimes with my last girlfriend, she used to catch me looking at other women, and I didn't even know I was doing it. I'd be like, oh shit, my bad. Like, oops, sorry. Because it's subconscious. I just do it, man. If there's a nice ass walking by, my eyes go straight to it. And so, sometimes I catch myself and stop myself. And sometimes I don't even catch myself and I think about it like half a minute later. And I was like, oh damn, I was just straight up looking at that girl's ass. Everybody saw me like, oh, embarrassing. But whatever, that's nature, man. It's just how we function. And me being a Hispanic, what did I say before about Hispanics popping out a bunch of babies? I can't help that, man. I'm half Dominican, half Peruvian. I'm gonna want to plant my seed. Yeah, I love sex. I can't help that. Men are loyal like dogs. They bang all the bitches in town, but always come home. Yes, yeah, what Devin said. That is, I've never heard it put that way. That is a great way to put it. Jerk off on air. I'm not fucking like Mike that's gonna plop a turd on a stream. Do you think the black community having many kids with different women is in a direction of hurting people? Well, I mean, having kids irresponsibly is always gonna do that because you're leaving people with single parent homes. Um, those women themselves probably weren't expecting to have a kid at that time. You shouldn't have kids unless you're expecting to have a kid, if unless you're ready for it. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't just pop out kids like crazy. You put it as the black community, which is true. The black community is doing a lot, but it's not good for any community, regardless of race. It's not good for any community to just pop out babies irresponsibly. Ladies like boobies too, for sure, Val. They definitely do. Yeah, I know all about her. Regina's a friend of mine. Really, Kelly? Oh shit, I didn't know that. We might have to talk about that one of these days. Soon. Get them eggs. The girl who sent nudes to Onision's wife. Yeah. I'd be down to talk about that sometime if you have some time. Know what I'm trying? Yeah. Elf can do Cardi B because she's Dominican. Is she? I didn't even know that. But it makes sense that she is. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Cardi B. Maybe before she got all that work done, she looks so fake now. I'm not. I don't think the fakeness. Hispaniola doesn't exist. Change my mind. Spain. Your last girlfriend caught you making eyes at a shapely rat. Yeah, in New York City probably. Alpha's an ass man. Confirmed. I do like. I mean, who's not an ass man? Is there anybody? Do you know any dudes who aren't ass mans? Uh, Boulder Vaughn. What's up, man? Onision is a weird looking guy. I mean, yeah, he is. He's a weirdo. He's a not only a weird looking guy, he's a weirdo in general. Blah 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 blah. I feel out of the loop. What is an Onision? He's a YouTuber, been making YouTube videos for like 10 years. Really corny dude, but he somehow amassed a huge following of teenagers. And it's come all these things like there's been little drops of things coming out throughout the years, but now everything's coming out, and he's been he's basically had pictures of young girls and stuff like that. Had young girls move in with him, and all this weird stuff, and it's all coming out. Might lead to some bad things. Who knows? We'll see. You can look it up. There's a lot of stuff coming out now. Tons of people making videos about it now. But Alf men have asses. Yeah, but they don't have women asses. That's a huge difference. I love asses, but I love women asses, not men asses. Men asses are gross and hairy. He's a total cringe. Yeah, he is. He's very cringe. He always was. Let me go back to reading some of this. In Norway, they take 100 million doses. Yeah, that's a problem of antidepressants every year. With population of 5.3 million people, yeah, that's a problem. He's right there. Could it be that his hedonism is making people depressed? Not really. I mean, it could be that they're depressed and that's why they're seeking hedonism, because when you're depressed, you seek out the short-term pleasures, right? I mean, when I was in my 20s and I was depressed, all I did was, drugs, alcohol, rock and roll, and banging chicks. Like that's all I did, and I spent all my time in the search of those and doing those things. So, I mean, I wouldn't say that the hedonism is making them depressed. I would say that depression is making them hedonistic, probably. But, if they want to bang, they want to bang. Isn't Norway really cold? Like it's cold out there. It's a good way to keep warm is to bang. Stephen Molyneux, I think you'd find this interesting. Yeah, of course he would. That's what he talks about all the time. I will end this thread with the following. Sexual liberation was a mistake. No, not really. It might have gone too far. Like I said, there's a balance to things. There's no problem with sexual liberation. Oh, one more thing. The data I gave in the first tweet is from 2005, which is the latest reliable statistics I could find. My guess is that Tinder and everything else nowadays, the figures are much higher. That's a guess. You could be completely wrong. 2005 was 15 fucking years ago. Like, find some current stats. You're way off. The marriage statistics I quoted, however, is recent. So, recently, 40% of people are getting divorced, of married couples are getting divorced, but 15 years before that, 70% of people were having one-night stands 12 times on average. This doesn't add up. He's just pointing. How bad is this? Why would you even post these two stats that are 15 years apart? Makes no sense. It's terrible. It's just the point of him trying to push his agenda, basically. And no one is surprised. Norway has one of the highest percentages of chlamydia in Europe. Well, I mean, if you're banging like crazy, you're gonna get stuff like that. Tonka, what's up, man? I gotta head home, but if you're still on in a few minutes, I can listen when I get home. This was good shit to listen to with a sandwich. Yeah, yeah, Tonka. Yeah, I just started a little while ago. I'll probably go on for another hour and a half or so. Oh, look who commented, guys. Ethan. Educated women don't want kids. Oh, well, that's what I was saying, actually. But I don't think it's educated women don't want kids. I think the more likely scenario is they want to wait to have kids. They want to cement their career before they have kids, and then their career gets carried away, and they get carried away with their career and end up missing their time, probably. Or just having one kid because it's like at the last minute and stuff. But yeah, let's see. 25,000 people out of a population of 5.3 million people have it. 59% are women. Meanwhile, Poland has barely any, from what I could see. So if they're getting chlamydia, aren't they having sex without condoms? I'm not really sure how chlamydia works. It's not a huge thing around here. But wouldn't that mean they're having sex without condoms? And if they're having sex without condoms, I guess they're really good at pulling out because they're not having kids at a high rate. So that's weird. But like I said, his statistics are from 15 years ago. Could be a completely different story right now, and he doesn't even know. But again, these stats don't make any sense. Pretty dumb. Alpha, you challenge Esau to a fight? I think I already did. I challenged him to a fight like 3 or 4 times. Yeah, I remember I told him where I was from, and he looked it up, and he was like, "Oh shit, it's a shithole." And I was like, "Yeah, I told you it was. That's why I could kick your ass, because I grew up in a tough fucking area." What do you expect? What was that? I live in that guy's city. Whose city? Well, no, he lives in my city. Oh, you're talking about Nision? Shit. Oh, Esau you're talking about. Yeah, I knew that. Esau, yeah, now it all clicked in my head. Hispanics, with the help of blacks, will vote every state into a California, New York, hate speech laws and gun. Whatever, dude. I don't agree with you at all. I have no problem with New York. I think New York City is one of the greatest cities in the world. I love New York. I go there all the time, or used to go there all the time. I don't go there that much anymore because I've been there so many times. It's not like a big deal to go there anymore. But I love New York City. What's wrong with New York City? What's wrong with other places turning into New York City? I don't have a problem with that at all. I don't have much of a problem with California either. Never really cared about California. It's not in my radar since I've always lived on the East Coast. But yeah, I don't care. I don't care if that happens. I don't agree that there will be gun confiscations. I don't even agree that will happen at all. Or hate speech laws might possibly happen, but I don't think it's that serious. I think all that is fear mongering that people do. Hispanics will vote conservative more than Dems predict. Depends on the Hispanics, depends on the area. Cubans tend to be very conservative. Most Cubans tend to vote conservative. But most other Hispanics don't. Most other Hispanics are Democrat. I mean, I've been Democrat my whole life. My parents are Democrats. Yes, I am wheezing. I have asthma. Wheezing is normal for me. Yeah, but that's funny. What else did I have? I have this kill stream. Ethan Ralph had the quartering on, and the hugest dork on the planet, hugest moron, Mark Collette, who's a anti-Semite, bigot, racist. I'm gonna play this in a bit. I might wait for Tonka because the reason I know about this is because of Tonka. He had a stream earlier. I caught it late. I came home from my dog walks and I caught it like the last half hour of it. And he told me that there's a part where Mark Collette talks about pornography and he said it was hilarious. So I was like, okay, I gotta find that and talk about that because I haven't listened to it yet myself. So we're gonna listen to it together, fresh. Is Peter trying to make a point about how bad things are in Norway by bringing up Poland? yeah, Marino. But these guys are obsessed with that stuff. This is what I was talking about last week when we were when I did that stream on what LP was talking with David Silverman, and it's like these guys. It's like I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like these guys are so inadequate with sexuality. They feel awkward when they see women being sexual, or they're just jealous that they're not getting the play that all these people are out there getting. Because you got girls out there that are sleeping with all these dudes, yet these guys are barely sleeping with chicks, and they're like, how come everybody else gets to bang chicks like crazy and I don't? And it's like, hey, You know, it doesn't work out for everyone. Maybe the problem is you. Maybe you got to change something about yourself. Who knows? I've never had a problem with that. I've always been good with talking to girls. So I don't understand it, but I've known many people who aren't so good at talking to girls. But, you know, you figure it out, man. Instead of blaming it on other people, you know. Reagan Youth, the band? Or you're talking about young people, Reagan era young people? Edward. Myth. Actual hate speech. I hate any speech law. You could say I hate speech laws. Yeah, I mean, in general. In general, speech laws don't make any sense. It's kind of dumb. Unless, you know, there are exceptions. I mean, if you're speaking violence and you're rallying people to go attack certain people or attack a place or just attack people in general, I could see that being a crime. Why not? You know? But people just speaking and someone else doesn't like it, that's not hate speech. Or talking about a race honestly, that's not hate speech, you know? You got people like this guy Mark Collette, who just constantly bashes Jews. He's completely anti-Semitic, a complete I would say white supremacist. I think he admits to being an anti-Semite. I don't know if he admits to being racist towards other races, but he totally is. You can tell. I mean, it's not very well hidden. That's because Cubans are religious weirdos. Well, it's because I don't know. Cubans are weird. They left a place where they were under extreme fascist dictatorship, and then they want to be right-wing when they get here. They've just always been right-wing. I mean, you could say it's because Cubans are religious weirdos, but all Hispanics are religious weirdos. And, you know, and all Hispanics are mostly Democrats. You know, the vast majority of Hispanics are Democrat. It's cool I hate what? Why you hate you? Don't hate you, Val. I'm too transparent. It's plainly obvious that I like you, and then it's weird. Is that what you do? Is that what you do? You're really awkward around when you like women? Don't be awkward, Carter. Well, I mean, you're married. Don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about that anymore. Hellbound Heathen, you were actually talking about censorship and not hate speech. Me? I'm not talking about censorship. When did I mean, people... Well, yeah, I am actually. But that's what is going on, is that some people are using censorship and saying it's hate speech, right? That's what's going on now, and that's what I'm against. I'm not against things that you might actually say is hate speech that we would probably agree would be hate speech, as in, like, promoting violence against people. You know, if somebody was out there saying, we need to attack, you know, Indian people, then that's, you know, that's hate speech, you know? That is, you know, yeah, I'm good with that being a crime. Fine. Cubans are such a small percentage. It's true. Cubans aren't a very large percentage of the population. They're huge populations in pockets like Miami and where I live. There's tons of Cubans here. I mean, I have bashed a Jew, but not all Jews. Yeah. No, Mike, they lived under socialism? No, they lived under communism, not socialism. Yeah, Cuba is still a communist country. Their kids vote Dem. No, they don't. Some of them do, but not all of them, no. A lot of them are still... I mean, I live in the second largest Cuban population outside of Cuba, and most of them are Republican. Yeah. Oh, not you, the chat, gotcha. Many wants to censor the Jews. No, I don't want to censor anybody. $250,000 fine for saying illegal alien in New York. No, that's not true. You're reading propaganda. $250,000 fine if you use the term illegal alien in New York as in a derogatory way, as in, oh, I hate these people, these damn illegal aliens. Then yeah, I guess that is kind of censorship. You're right in that sake, but you know, it's the propaganda that says that just for saying illegal alien you're going to get fined. That part is not true. Just like people were saying, oh, in New York they want to kill babies after they're born. Bullshit. Complete propaganda. That's not what it is. They completely erased all nuance out of that bill. It's not true. Alf Benny, I live in Miami. I find the Cubans hate Democrats because of the Bay of Pigs and Kennedy. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I lived in Miami for some time too. Yeah, I know that. A lot of Cubans hate Democrats, yeah, or Republicans. Though Edward is right, their kids vote Dem, but it's some of their kids vote Dem. A small percent starting to change. Maybe those kids will start, you know, and eventually will be more Democrat. But Right now, I would say that still most Cubans are Republican. What if you're singing a Sting song? What? I don't get what you're saying, S. Carter. What if someone illegally changed their name to? Oh my God, I'm not gonna read your what you're saying anymore, Eric. It's not serious. I get laid. Women hit on me in the city. It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad for women. I can see why conservatives say what they say about relationships and sex. I can see what they say, but their conclusions are wrong. Their conclusions are looking in the wrong direction. They're blaming outwardly instead of blaming inwardly. If you're having problems with women, then that's your own fault. But women hit on me in the city. It's kind of sad for. Why is it sad for women to hit on you? What? That doesn't make sense. I don't. If you could elaborate that, because that doesn't make much sense to me. The worst thing about censorship is, yeah. If you could elaborate that, that didn't even make sense to me. Why is it sad that women hit on you? Oh, it's someone's birthday. Let me say happy birthday real quick. Dems are calling for hate speech laws. Yes, some are. Some Dems are. Not all Dems are. That's another thing that ends up being funny, is that people tend to lump all the left together. All of the left isn't AOC. AOC is a small minority, a small loud minority of the left. If you look at all the left in the House of Representatives, she's like one of she has barely any power. She's one of over 600 people. And yeah, she's a small minority. The Dems don't all agree with her. It's not true. Not all Dems are calling for hate speech laws. I'm a Dem. I'm not calling for hate speech laws, But if we're talking about in office, it's not true. I mean, it's true to an extent, but not completely. Up and yelling illegal alien is like yelling fire in a movie theater. The resulting stampede could hurt people. Yeah. Left too far? Well, some people are too far left. Some people aren't. But don't believe that everything you read in newspapers. Newspapers tend to give you a sensationalized version of stuff. Left too far. How do you come back? It'll come back eventually. Every generation has a counterculture. I kind of feel like the next counterculture is going to be somewhere in the middle. People are going to start not wanting to be far left or far right, because this is a huge thing that's happened, is that we've had the left has gone further left and the right has gone further right. That's what this stream was about, of how far right the right's gotten and how weird they've gotten about sexuality and stuff like that. There's no balance anymore. Things are teetering. And I think the next generation is gonna counter this culture by going in the middle and creating that balance again. And then of course their kids are gonna counter that, and we'll have this division again. It's gonna go back and forth. Who knows how hard it goes back and forth? I'm not sure. They're calling for banning anything Trump thinks is okay. Some do that, not all of it, but I mean, who gives a shit? Trump's an idiot anyway. I don't really like most of the things Trump says either. I don't want to ban a lot of the things he says is okay, but most of the times I hear Trump talk, I'm like, what? Like, this guy's retarded. So I don't really care. I mean, Trump's going to be president for a set amount of time, and then he's out and things are going to go back to normal. It happens all the time, right? We had Obama and the right was all like, oh, damn, Obama, and blah, 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 and, constantly going after him. Well, now we're on the opposite end. Now we got Trump as president. Now the left is saying, damn Trump, Blair, Blair, Blair. It'll all come back. The next president will change everything, and people are going to be yelling at that president. It's all right. Who cares? It'll pass. The thing about it is a lot of people are stuck in the moment, and they see a dire, we're seeing this a lot. People feel like we're in some sort of dire situation. The culture war, and things are going to shit, and this and that. Yeah, things might go downhill for a while. There's growing pains. That's always going to happen. It's like we got the internet when I was a teenager, and I've seen the whole evolution on society with the internet, and shit, has gotten bad. We've got the rise of incels, people staying in more, people finally, people staying on, people becoming porn addicts and stuff like that. Those are growing pains. Those happen. But I'll tell you another thing. When smartphones first came out, I kept seeing everybody staring at their phones as they walk around. And as of like, for years, and as of like a year or two ago, I'm seeing that less and less. Even with the younger generation, like I walk dogs around the time kids are getting out of school, and I see tons of kids walking around. They're barely on their phone. If they'll look at it for a moment and put it right back away, they don't walk around staring at it like I used to see a couple years ago. So new things happen. We get things too fast. We don't adjust to them quickly enough, and we have growing pains. That happens. We're having growing pains now. We're always going to have growing pains with something, but things adjust, things balance. We'll figure it out. But it is good that there's people out there calling out things. You call those things out, you create a thing. But the problem with that call out culture is we get the shitty ones, like people like Nick Fuentes and people like, this guy fucking Mark Collette. And and all these young kids are impressionable. They listen to them. But you know what's going to happen down the line? These kids are going to grow up. Yeah, there's going to be few like Mark Collette. I think he's probably like my age or a few years younger than me. And he's still doing this shit. But I bet you any money, he's been doing this shit for like 2 decades. I bet you any money he's seen people come and go in his movement. Constantly coming and going. You know why? Because he fools young kids into listening to him. They jump into the fad, because that's what it is. It's a phase. It's a little fad. And they jump in on it. And then they grow up. And then they say, I got better things to do. I got kids to make. I got women to marry. I got a job, career to try to focus on. And they go. And they don't buy that shit anymore. They give up on it. It's like any other fad. That's exactly what's going on now. All these things that people are worrying about, SJWs and shit like that. Shit's a fad. It'll pass. Call it out and then let it pass. It'll go. But sometimes calling it out is bad too, because you give it so much attention. Sometimes giving it attention is not a good thing, and it keeps it around longer. There's so many times, like with if you guys remember, Anita Sarkeesian, who nobody talks about anymore because people got tired of giving her attention. But I think she stuck around way longer than she should have because people were giving her attention. But eventually, once everybody got tired of talking about her, people stopped looking for the videos of people talking about her. It got tired, and people were like, whatever, let it go. Divorced single moms and men pump and dump them. No one wants to take care of another man's nut. I don't agree with you. I think you're wrong on that. In fact, I will say you're superbly wrong on that. I think lots of men don't mind taking care of another man's nut. I think you're very wrong about that. That's why I say it's sad for women in my city. Well, that sounds like a personal problem. I don't think that's those women's problem. I think that's your problem and not the women's problem. I think you're very wrong on that. I think that's you who doesn't want to take care of another kid, and you might pass up a really good woman because she has kids because you don't want to take care of the kid. But that's your own personal choice. If you want to do that, that's fine. But don't blame it on them. Blame it on yourself. Just say, I don't want to take care of another man's woman, and that's it. That's, again, this is the problem with that I see nowadays. Is everybody, not nowadays, it's always been like this. People want to scapegoat their issues on other people. And yeah, if a woman has kids and she wants to raise her kids, so be it. She'll find a dude. I guess I wasn't a kid, but I have a stepdad, but I was already 20 something, 21, 22 by the time I had a stepdad. He didn't have to raise me, but he was a good dude to me. He hooked me up. He'd give me advice and stuff, and he'd help me out. He was a good dude. What's up, Jacob? He didn't mind marrying a woman who had kids, who had kids. Same, well, in reverse, my dad had a son before he married my mom. My mom didn't mind taking in a young boy that wasn't hers to marry my dad, and then they had me and my brother, so there was 3 of us, but one's my half brother, my oldest brother. But she didn't mind. It worked out well, And my mom loves my older brother, my half brother. She loves him, She took care of him. She helped him out. Even when my parents got divorced, and he is not my mom's son, my mom gave him him and his wife and his daughter, a place to live, because they needed a place to live when they moved back from Japan. They didn't have a place to live. My mom said, "Oh, you need a place to go? stay, I'll give you an apartment in our house, you could stay in our house. I got a floor that you can live on. And he lived above me for like 8 years, raising his daughter and with his wife until he got his own place, later on in life. But my mom didn't have to do that. My dad moved to Dominican Republic. They were divorced. My mom didn't have to take a guy who's not her son and treat him like her son, but she did. And treated him, he's a good dude. So my mom's like, yeah, I'll take care of you. That's why I say, yeah. Jesus, Alan, get your shit together. yeah, Alan. What's up, Jacob? How you doing, man? Thank you, Brian. Thanks for the MMA leagues. Yeah, no problem, Brian. Every Saturday, I got them going. I got the MMA going. I agree. I see men taking care of other children, but I barely see women do it. Yeah, you don't see that as much. It happened in my family, but yeah, you're right. It's not a very common thing. But I don't agree that men don't want to take care of other people's kids. I think when men find, if you're a man and you find a woman you love, you're willing to do all types of things. You don't care. You know what I'm saying? If I find a woman I love and she has kids, I don't mind, and I'll treat those kids as mine. I don't mind. It's well worth it, I agree. Oh, sorry, I already read that. Your thumbnail is really awesome. Oh, thank you. Though a friend made it for me. RB, he's not around right now. He usually comes to my streams. Are trans kids a fad? I think there is some sort of fad going on with trans, but I think it's just trying to be more acceptable. So it's not like, I don't think we're seeing a rise in trans people. I think we're just noticing them more. We have internet now. People are hiding it less. It's just like when we started accepting gay people and gay people started becoming socially acceptable, people would say, oh my God, it's making more gay people. Look how many gay people there are now. No, there wasn't more gay people. It's just gay people were more out in the open. So we saw how many there are now when before half of those were hidden, Look at fucking Rock Hudson. He got married, had kids. Nobody knew he was gay until he died, But yeah, I don't care if there's trans kids. I do care if parents are doing like medical treatments and surgeries on young children. Wait till they naturally hit puberty and get past that, and then they can make that choice. Just like kids can't consent to sex, they shouldn't be able to consent to sex change. Like, that doesn't make any sense, And parents consenting for them doesn't make any sense either, because you can't do that with sexes either, It just doesn't make sense. It's stupid. And I think that's going to cause more harm than anything. But it's not like it's happening in vast numbers. It's never going to happen in vast numbers. So it's really nothing to fear. You get a lot of fear-mongering on the internet, guys. Stay away from that shit, especially from the right. Yeah, people like InfoWars, Paul Joseph Watson, and all these people who are constantly fear-mongering. Don't listen to that shit, man. People saying, oh, they're sexualizing kids and blah, blah, blah. Some instances they're right, but that happens in such small numbers. I mean, it sucks. You don't want it to happen even in small numbers, but it's happening in such small numbers. There's nothing to fear. And half the times they're talking shit. I seen one time where they were talking about at the gay parade, there was a kid dancing, and they were like, look at them sexualizing these kids, what degeneracy. And I'm like, what? That kid wasn't even dancing in a sexual way. He was just dancing. He was fully dressed, non-sexual clothes, like a regular kid dance, not in a sexual way. It's ridiculous that they were calling that out and trying to say, look at these guys sexualizing these kids at the gay parade. Kid was not being sexualized at all. Not even in the slightest. The numbers are tiny. Yeah, Marino. 0.0000 percentile. Man, I'm talking like crazy. Nobody wants to come on with me? What's the matter with you guys? You guys shy? Don't leave me on here by myself. Well, I'm gonna give it like maybe 5 more minutes. I'm gonna start this stream so we can listen to it and make fun of it. The people are always scared, always overblowing some tiny incident. Exactly. And the worst thing about that is that it pulls in young people, because young minds tend to think things are forever. If you remember being a teenager, when your heart was broken, you felt like your heart was broken forever. you had friends and you were like, oh, I'm gonna be friends with these people forever, everything's gonna last forever. So when you bring these fearmonger tactics to these kids, they think these things are forever. They see these things as being extremely dire. But when you look at it from a rational point of view, like us, you know, like I'm 40 years old. I don't buy into these fear tactics. I've seen it all my life. In the 80s, especially with the end of when we were going towards the end of the Cold War, for sure. But you know, you see these things, and you know these things are happening in such small numbers that they don't mean shit. You can, you know, don't be afraid of these things. I'll be home in 40 minutes. Off, cool, Billy. Yeah, I should probably still be streaming by then. We could talk about it. Well, I might be watching the stream already, but if you hear it, we could talk about it afterwards. Mountain out of a molehill, motherfuckers. Yes, Alf, will you take care of Roy's kids? Does he have kids? Oh boy, I wouldn't take care of Roy's kids because they're Roy's kids. I don't trust his genetics. I think it'll be a lot of trouble. Is Roy pregnant? Don't tell me you got him pregnant. I hope not. Where is Roy? I saw him pop in here a little while ago and then he got quiet. But let's take a little light break from this talk and maybe talk a bit about TV shows. Anybody got a good one going on? Any good shows? Any good movies? I want to see Dr. Sleep. I haven't seen that yet. I've been hearing a lot of good things about it. Kind of souped. I might watch it this week and maybe do a little review because you guys know I'm a huge horror fan. I'm a huge Stephen King fan. Oh man, I gotta type this now after she said hashtag pegged. I think he's banned? Who banned Roy? No, no, he was in here. He just said hi a little while ago. Yeah, I see it. He said boobies in the chat a little while ago. Nobody banned him. He's not banned. His water broke. He's pregnant. I also don't see Tonka. Tonka said he'll be back. He was on his way home. So I was going to wait for Tonka to play this, but I might start playing it soon. Black Mirror is an awesome show. Striking Vipers was very good. Not the best Black Mirror episode, but it was good. I enjoyed it. I thought it... a lot of people didn't like it, but I thought it asked very legitimate questions. Like the way virtual reality and the internet will change sex and sexuality. It is a good question to say, you go into a virtual reality world and do sexual things with a woman in the virtual reality world, but outside of the virtual reality world, the person playing a woman is a dude. You know what I'm saying? Those are important questions. What is that? What do you consider that? Hi, Durin. Again, is it cheating as well? It asked a lot of good questions. It did. Is it cheating? Is it just another way of like jerking off to porn? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Or some women consider guys jerking off to porn cheating. Some don't. Brittany Venti, I consider her to be a large troll, and it's hard for me to understand what parts of her is trolling and what parts of her is being real. But she's huge and has constantly said many times that she won't date a guy who watches porn. And I always comment, she never responds back, but I always comment like, that's a huge mistake. You're never going to find that. And she's put out stuff saying, oh, people who say that I'll never find a guy who doesn't watch porn are lying. There's plenty of guys who don't watch porn out there. Bullshit. I call 100% bullshit on that. I say the guys that she thinks that she's meeting out there that don't watch porn are lying to her. Those are just people who are embarrassed to reveal that they do that. I watch porn. I'm not embarrassed to say that. I think the vast majority of men out there watch porn, whether they're dating somebody or not. It's just the way it is. They just keep it hidden, or they don't. It's up to that person. Then she won't date anyway. Exactly, Val. Exactly. That's what I keep telling her. You watching Walking Dead? I watched the first 2 episodes of the season. I haven't continued from there. I watched the first episode of Castle Rock. I liked the first episode a lot. I got to continue that still. I'm very much enjoying Watchmen. It is very regressive. Does a lot of SJW shit. But I feel like I just can't stop watching it. We actually have another episode to watch that I might watch later today or tomorrow. But I can't stop watching it. It's intriguing. It's written very well. It makes me want to know what's going to happen next. It keeps me on my seat. You know, it keeps me guessing. The last episode I saw, not the one that just passed this Sunday, but from the last Sunday, was really good. I enjoyed that episode a lot. But yeah, it's regressive, but I can, and that the aggressive stuff kind of gets annoying. But if the story's good and a movie is done well or a show is done well, I can look past that stuff and be like, oh well, I'll look past it, call it out maybe, but I'll look past it. Did you watch? Yeah, I just said no, I did not. Not listening to me now. It's just the lag. But no, I didn't watch last night. I might watch it tonight. I do want to watch Doctor Sleep this week too. What other show is there? Oh, Mandalorian, amazing show, super fun. 2 episodes in, and I'm totally enjoying it. It's like an old Italian spaghetti western, but in the Star Wars universe. Totally fun, very fun show. Um, Her tits are the trolling part. I love her tits. She's got great tits. She's got a great body. I'll give her that. She's not a bad looking girl. Love, Death, and Robots is really good. Yeah, that was fun. Well, I would love for some new Black Mirror to come out. It's been a bit. That new, I did a review on those new Twilight Zone shows. There should be another season coming soon, but they were so bad. If you guys want to look back on my channel, I do have to do another Twilight Zone video this week on one of my favorite episodes. Have you seen the Girls Do Porn thing? No, what is that, Roy? Please explain. There are 2 great current shows right now, aka Mindhunter and The Boy. I love The Boys. I recommended it to Devin for the longest time. He finally finished it. He loved it. We're waiting on the next season, but I don't think that's out till July. So we still got like half a season, half a year to like wait for that. But The Boys, highly recommended. If you guys haven't seen The Boys and you're in this chat, watch it as soon as you can. It is probably one of the best episodes. I've seen this video. I started listening on my phone. Oh, Tonka. When I got in and didn't know you started ignoring the kid to talk about movies like they did on the air that night. Huh? I don't know what you're saying, Tonka. Wait. Ignoring the kid to talk about movies like they did on the air that night. I think I'm out of context on that, Tonka. Are you talking about the stream? Because I haven't watched it yet. I'm about to play it. I haven't watched it at all. You told me about the part where Mark Collette talks about porn. And I listened to some of this and skipped through and got to that part. And I've just paused it there before I started the stream. So we're going to listen to it fresh. And I'm going to start it pretty soon. I still haven't seen Mindhunter. I will check that out. I think a lot of people have been recommending that to me too. Are people still going after quartering? I mean, let them go after quartering. The quartering's a weird... He's just like a sellout. He just starts talking about... He just does the same shit. I mean, what did he say? He did like 70 videos on Captain Marvel. I did a video talking about that, how people won't shut the fuck up about Captain Marvel. I actually saw the movie, and it wasn't even that bad. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't great, obviously. It wasn't a great movie. But it wasn't as bad as they were saying it. They were shitting on it like if it was the worst movie ever. And it ended up being just a regular Marvel movie, you know? Wasn't great, wasn't terrible. You legit just did what they do in this shit, did I? No, I haven't started the video yet at all, Tonka. Oh, shit. Get Tonka on. You want to come on, Tonka? I mean, nobody's in here with the chat. I can go to your channel if you wanna watch this with me on this stream. It's up to you. It's a good idea. I've never had Tonka on one of my streams. I've been on his streams. Let me close this Twitter. David Fincher. I love David Fincher. Is that who does Mindhunter? Well, now that just sells it to me more. He does about 3 videos a day about whatever is the yeah. Seriously, it's so annoying. What's funny is I follow him on Twitter just to roll my eyes every time. Every time he posts about shit, and he talks about the same. Like, he'll find one topic and he'll stick to it for an entire week, doing like 5 videos a day on it. It's ridiculous. Which one is Captain Marvel? That was the one with Brie Larson, Marina. It wasn't even that bad of a movie. It was a generic superhero movie, you know. I probably can. Let me throw the rest of this food out. Throwing away food? What are you doing, Tonka? Save the food. There's children in Africa. Who was that Spurg Tonka was mocking today? I'm not sure. This is the stream they were doing. I ended up... I got home too late, and I only caught like the last 20 minutes of Tonka's stream. So I didn't fully hear what was going on. I just knew it was Mark Collette and the quartering going at it or something. And that made me laugh because they're both fucking Spurgy-ass retards. Mm, Nerd Writer has a great video on Fincher. Oh, I like Nerd Writer. That guy's good. He does a lot of good analyses, as people say. Uh, I'll ask Tonka Devin. I'm probably gonna jump into his Discord and hang out with him. Let me go into the waiting chat over there. Is Andy in jail still? Was he in jail? When was he in jail? I didn't even know about that. How many of you joined what No Bullshit calls the Cool Kids Club? I don't know much about No Bullshit. I used to talk to him like maybe like two years ago, and yeah, and that's about it. That's where it ended. You.
Hey.
What's up, Taka? How you doing, man?
It's a good day. I'm full as hell. I went and ate like 2 sandwiches and started heading home. I didn't know you were going to be watching this. You were talking about
yeah. Well, it was after you mentioned it. I looked it up, and I got to the part where he was talking about porn. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stream about this. Let me pause this right here and not listen to it yet.
It's so good. His take on porn is so damn good.
Oh my God, I'm excited. Like I've been like an Mark Collette hater for so long. That guy's so dumb.
I don't know that much about him. No, I think the one thing that I remember was him doing the stream with Devin.
Yeah, he's a total anti-Semite. I'm pretty sure he's racist. I don't know if he admits to it. He admits to being an anti-Semite. He completely.
We got I don't know. He definitely admits to it tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I know.
He definitely admits to some things.
Yeah, that stream he did with Devin, where he was talking about the Holocauster, and he was, "Oh, you believe in the Holocauster?" Like right after that stream, I looked up. I just typed Auschwitz in a search, and all you see is like 5 or 6 railroad tracks leading inside of Auschwitz. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of it right there. Like, here's the proof. Like, what are you talking about?
He's an interesting cat.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how that stream got taken down and completely cost him his YouTube gimmick.
Yeah, and then remember, they did that for a charity, and then the charity wouldn't accept it. They were like,
wouldn't take the money.
They were like, no thanks. We don't want money from anti-Semites.
That's
thanks.
rough.
And then Ralph still has that guy on. Can you imagine having like such a notable
having a guy fuck up your whole thing like that?
Retarded. I don't get it.
Yeah, the guy fuck up your everything, and then you still have it all.
Devin asked, who was that Spurg Tonka was mocking today? Was that him? Or
it was these cats.
It was these guys, right? Well, there was some other guys, right? Nick,
the one. It's the Oreo kid that's on here, but like for like in the context of like what you're talking, we're gonna have a way bigger laugh.
Yeah,
the porn thing. Like the only thing I said about the kid is what ends up happening on this stream is he goes in there very, he's fucking ready. He this is his WrestleMania moment. He's about to get in there with Deontay Wilder, he thinks. And as soon as he walks in, they just start ignoring him and talking about movies. They don't fucking care. So.
Oh my God.
Let me turn that shit down because apparently my beep is still coming through.
I heard it. Beep.
Fuck all that. All right, sorry about that.
That's all right. Let me start this up. Oh, you're not gonna hear it though.
Hold on.
How can I set that up so you can hear it too?
This can end up being okay. All right. Do you know how the little go live thingy works?
No. Where do you see that?
All right. If you go to like your user setting, go down to your game activity, and you go down to whatever you have open. And you just click it and say, that's the thing. It's, I don't know, it's got a little TV on it. And then you can go back out and it'll give you the option to go live with it or whatever.
I'm not seeing your game added. Can I do it from there?
Hold on, if this is a video, you can just put it in a...
Here we go.
Yeah, you can put it in a bunch of stuff. You can put it in like My Circle or Watch Together, a bunch of stuff like that if this ends up being too wonky.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, shit.
That's
he
cool.
found it. That was way faster than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that was awesome. Cool, thanks. Now I know how to do this. I was doing it some other way in the AIU Discord that was like, took a while.
Oh, dude, it's a hell of a tool. They just started doing it like a month or two ago. I love it.
All right, let me start playing this.
Oh, yeah, of course. Hold on. Oh, yeah, I'll probably have to not read that, but
can you show it on the screen there?
I'm not even
first thing. I can't read that.
Fucking N-words. I will say that. That is what it says. Courtesy of the official Borderlands. What's that Facebook account? Looks like, yeah.
Oh my god! Underneath said, "What the hell, 2K? I just entered this in and got 3 gold keys."
What are they doing?
they're reading
So Kiosk Man was actually talking about outlawing porn.
Oh,
that has
Oh,
been a
okay.
topic. We had Vince James on the show last week, and he had put out a video saying porn needed to be banned. Of course, Dick Masterson was on the show as well. He didn't agree. Really, I don't agree either. Although I do not dispute the ill effects of porn on society necessarily. But we've talked about this issue with Mark Collette.
I don't think it's
before.
good for men in relationships. I'll say that.
Yeah.
If I have to say anything.
Mark, do you have any thoughts about that? Kiosk Man was kind of hinting at that issue, I believe. With
Yeah,
that,
why would you feel the need to be? Well, if I have to say anything, nobody says you had to say anything. You don't have to denounce porn at all.
Yeah,
you know?
so
It's about porn. I've made an entire video. It's one of my
on this show
most
even.
popular.
Yeah.
One of my most popular BitChute videos is about porn, the effect it has on the people behind pornography, and basically it destroys the male mind, and it is completely detrimental to society in almost every way, and it prevents young men who watch it from forming healthy relationships, and those that are in healthy relationships, it ruins their healthy relationship. It's something that is highly addictive. It alters the way you think. It alters your ability to control yourself, and it actually prevents you from gaining what you actually want, because people watch porn because they want to have sex.
All right, now hold on a second. All right, so I don't agree with a lot of this shit already, man. This guy's nuts. Like, I could see if you start watching it from a super young age, but like once you're a certain age, it doesn't matter anymore, right? Like, you just watch.
Once you've seen a titty, you've seen a titty.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't agree that people who watch porn are watching it because they want sex. I think some people, I don't consider sex and masturbation to be the same thing. Like, you know, even
Not necessarily, no.
Sometimes I'll have sex and then I want to jerk off like an hour later. You know, like they're two totally different things. You know, so
it's like sometimes you'll see like some porn out somewhere. It's like, oh, that kind of makes me want to go bang my old lady.
Yeah, and it works in reverse too. Yeah. So,
yeah, it's all kinds of things that happen with. It's not this like cut and dry. You turn into the fucking Joker when you see a titty. That's weird.
God. Yeah, it's so weird. I was saying that people can't control themselves. What are you talking about? Like, what does that mean?
That's like he said that, but what does that mean?
Yeah,
why don't we have this crazy epidemic of people just getting crazy rapey when they see a porn?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, does he think there's more rape now because of porn? I think there's probably the same amount as there's always been. There's probably less than there used to be. Like,
I would say there might be less. Yeah,
I think there's. I would think that porno probably prevents rapes. You know what I'm saying? Because instead of going out when people are like all backed up, you know, they could just watch a porn and get that out. It's like kind of how like violent people can release their violent aggression watching, playing video games or something, playing a really violent video game. You know, people like to blame violent video games, say, oh, they're going to go out and shoot people. But I think those people are violent in the first place, and they haven't shot people yet, probably because they've been playing these games and it's an outlet, you know, for their aggression.
I look at it the same way as punching a punching bag.
Yeah.
You're working out that aggression that way. You're not actually punching anybody. You're not doing any, you know, you're not actually in a fight, but you can go and work all that shit out.
Yeah.
Same way as when you're jerking it. It's not a big fucking deal.
Yeah. Life is all the same. It's like with dogs. I deal with dogs a lot, and dogs chew up shit. They tear up houses. Unless you work off their energy and their aggression. You know what I'm saying? When you work that off, then they just come home and they relax. You know, they don't go nuts and start tearing shit up.
Yeah.
Let me keep playing this.
And that they want to do something like that. But once they've watched it and they've got addicted to it, they have a completely sort of warped view of what women and sex are actually like, which prevents them from performing if they ever actually do meet a woman who wants to have sex with them. As far as
all right, so I have to say, Mark Collette is not
projection.
Yeah. Mark Collette is not the guy who had lots of sex in his life, and if he did, it's been lots of like very simple, like missionary type sex. So let me tell you, I've had lots of sex that was like just like it was in the porn. Porns can't be realistic.
I was gonna go to the same thing. It's not such a crazy, unrealistic thing, especially with the way that porn is now, where they'll show you fucking everything.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have a very romanticized way of anybody it's not like, I don't know, like Skinamax porn or whatever.
Yeah.
But people know what sex looks like these days.
It's not always super sensual. Sometimes people just want to bang and be dirty and naughty. You know, they just want to do it. It's fun. Fuck it.
Yeah.
It's not hurting.
It's that. I don't know why he would. him saying what he said a second ago. Mm-hmm. I remember when he said it, and I was listening to it earlier. I said, "You're letting everybody know that that's you, because the rest of us watch fucking porn, dude."
Yeah. But you know, it's weird. Like, he's. I don't know if he's still married to the same chick, but I remember a couple years ago he was married to this chick, and she's all tattooed up. She seems like kind of the chick that would be freaky, you know, like in bed. Both her arms tattooed up, her collarbone area. She has a huge swastika over her breast. You know, like if you didn't know they were Nazis, yeah, they're straight up into that shit. She has a huge swastika over her breast, and her body's all tatted up. She looks like a freak. So I don't know why he wouldn't be having that kind of sex if he's married to a girl like that. You'd think he would. I don't know.
Usually girls like that.
I'm on the stream, dude.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Sorry, my roommate just got home. He didn't realize I was streaming.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I don't know.
so
If he broke up with her and then all of a sudden had this weird hatred of porn,
that could be why. It's true.
That could make more sense to me.
Yeah, that does make sense. I know you
like
said you didn't know much about her. I've seen
anymore.
a picture of them together. She's like taller than him, super like Aryan looking chick with all these tattoos. It's nuts, and like you know the gauges in her ears and stuff.
As I'm concerned, if they banned pornography, it would be a huge benefit for society. And I've said before, if you actually had a system of very rigorously controlled prostitution, that would be more healthy for society than widespread pornography.
Yeah.
What? What's the difference then? I mean,
that was the line that got Akajan fucked up earlier.
Like, well, I agree. I think prostitution should be legal. Like, I don't see why it's illegal. It doesn't make any sense. But what's the difference between that and pornography? Well, there is a difference, but I mean, you can use pornography in the same.
Well, I would say there is a difference to it. Mm-hmm. One of these you can't get the fucking clap from.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You don't bring STDs home to your family when you're jerking it.
Yeah, good point.
That's not how it works.
Good point. That is true.
There's so many weird things that, like, all the weird ways that these people wiggle around to kind of have these wonky fucking ideas that make them feel like they're so unique. Like, you know that he has that idea because he thinks it's unique. Like, it was really about being, you know, kind of, I don't know, whatever it is, like, degeneracy's terrible. I have a feeling prostitution wouldn't even be talked about.
No. Yeah, okay, he probably wouldn't even care about legalizing prostitution if he wasn't so anti-porn, right? He's just using it as a response.
This is that thing where somebody is trying to generate a unique opinion, but it's stupid.
Yeah. This is what it's funny that you started streaming about this today and you brought it up to me because this is exactly what I was going to stream about today from somebody else's tweet, because it seems to be a growing trend on the right now, the far right guys that all are like trad life and we can't sexualize women and this and that. And it's like kind of all just sounds like projection, right? Like they can't get chicks to do like freaky stuff with them, so they see other people doing it, so they're like, well, if I can't do it, nobody can do it.
I think it's more of that they can't do freaky stuff. And they don't know what to do.
Maybe it's like a issue from when they were young that's in their head, and they have this like issue in their brain that they grossed out by it, or I think it's more that they can't get it that way, so they don't like that other people get it. That's just my thoughts. I guess.
I've been thinking there's a weird swing back from like the religious right. Like the religious right got fucking pounded into the ground before like 2010.
Yeah.
And I think that they're feeling kind of bolstered here, and they're gonna try to swing some of this shit out there, and it's not gonna fucking fly.
They've even pulled in some atheists, and they're like, now there's atheists out there saying, "Oh, well, I'm an atheist, but I'm culturally Christian." Like, what kind of bullshit is that?
What does that mean? What's that bullshit fucking mean?
So you don't believe in God, but you follow the Bible, basically.
I'm culturally Christian.
How stupid is that? It's retarded.
I got a Jesus T-shirt.
Yeah. I like Jesus as the idea, man. The idea of Jesus is cool.
I like his third album, you know.
Yeah.
We did have this discussion on the show before, but I figured I'd have you reiterate it there. Now, the quartering in the Lino chat says, I need to see Oreo's flag history.
Was that it, or does he go more into it?
Sure. I fucking meant it, too.
Was that the end of him talking about porn, or does he go more into it?
I think he ends up talking... I think they talk about it again after, like, a lot more... The thing... At the beginning of the like whole thing, they start talking about movies, and then they get into porn a little bit, and then the Oreo kid tries to start shit with the quartering, and nobody fucking cares. And then they get back into the porn here. I don't know if they hit it again, but I think he hit it earlier in the stream, and then he hits it here, and then we ended up stopping a little bit after this. because it was just we got sad watching that kid. He was floundering.
Flamenco, yeah, you can sit
Let me fast forward and see if they get Mark Collette talking more, because I really hate that guy.
Ah, that guy.
Alright. Now you didn't see that on screen. It really is funny.
But I'd like to say one other thing is that porn and masturbation is a great stress reliever. If you're not busting a nut, you're going to be stressed out, you know. You need to get that out. Our bodies are built to constantly produce semen, and if you're backed up, you're going to be stressed out. You need to get it out so everybody knows.
See it, but whatever. Godzilla37 says, Mark and Nick, shut up and take my money. Godzilla37 says, wait, no, Nick, give me half back. Pencil Cowboy says, Rand, thoughts on demographics in the JQ? No, we'll skip
Fucking
that.
Ethan Ralph.
Exactly. Yeah, good point.
Is that how you say it? People keep spamming that on my feed. Is it
Yeah.
Groiper?
Groiper.
You don't know how to
I
say
didn't know that
Groiper?
till the other day. I didn't know whether it was pronounced Groiper or Groiper.
Yeah, I know what it is.
Groiper.
Initially, I thought it was.
I hate his accent.
I thought it, I think going to these sort of conservative ink things and showing.
I can't tell if he's trying to like make it sound a different way or something.
Yeah, like more classy than it is, right? He sounds like
Yeah,
he's
he's-
exaggerating.
I've heard
it.
people do that shit
Yeah.
where they like put in the weird pauses, like like the little noises between words to try to make it seem like you got shit going on. Oh, maybe.
Alf, can you turn the? I can't. That's the full volume. It's just a low recording, I guess.
D-Live quality, folks. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hacks is a fantastic thing, and I
He
also
got chased
think
over to
it
D-Live.
was really funny for a while watching them get humiliated on their sort of hypocrisy and sort of sniveling.
This is funny because I haven't been fully paying attention, but I watched some of this stuff where Charlie Kirk's been doing these speeches and Nick Fuentes is sending like his fans over to these shows to like troll him. And it's funny that Mark Collette's like, oh, it's so great that they went over there and he's getting humiliated. I don't think he realizes that the only people who are seeing Charlie Kirk get as being humiliated are the fans of Nick Fuentes. Nobody else really cares. People who are fans of Charlie Kirk are still going to be fans of Charlie Kirk, and they're just going to be like, oh, these fucking trolls,
Somebody was telling me about this a couple hours ago before I went out and got food. About what the hell is going on with the Nick Fuentes? What is he doing? What is he doing? What is these crazy fucking things he's saying? Also, sending people over to the rally thing and pretending what's going on?
Well, what it is he's got this thing called America First, and he doesn't agree with these other conservatives. Like Charlie Kirk is pro-Israel. He hates, Nick Fuentes hates that, and he's like, that's not real conservative. Charlie Kirk is trying to bring people of color over to conservatism. Nick Fuentes don't like that. He thinks conservatism should only be for white people and shit like that. So he's like really going.
His name's Fuentes.
Yeah, exactly. He's like half Mexican and shit. This guy.
That's all right.
So
I
weird.
talked to him. I did a show with him like 2 years ago. Well, no, it'd be a little over a year now, maybe like a year and a half or so. He was on. We talked about this kind of stuff, and he was all for. I don't know. He they asked then, "Are you? Why not?" No. I'm for this and this and this. I always thought it was weird that people say he was white. I only talked to him that one time.
It might just be a whole troll thing. 'Cause he's a young dude. He's like 20 years old.
Yeah, he looks 10. He's a kid.
Yeah, he's a kid. And it's funny they're talking about him like he's got this huge oh, this guy has a movement. It's great. Well, he's a 20-year-old. Like, who gives a shit about a 20-year-old with a movement? Like,
yeah, Justin Bieber got a movement too, man.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, these kids who follow Nick Fuentes, in like 5 years, they're gonna grow up and be like, "Oh, I've got other things to do. I've got,
they're gonna want to get laid.
Yeah, they're gonna want to get laid. They're gonna want to have kids, start a career. They're not gonna keep doing this shit. It's stupid. It's just a fad. It'll pass,
Sort of.
But see, the thing with Mark Collette is he's like my age. He's like probably like 38, 39, maybe 40. And he's been doing this for like 2 decades, being, trying to push anti-Semitism and racism and white nationalism. And
I was going to say, what is it he does? Is he a politician? What does he do?
I think he just talks on the radio or something like that. He's a talker. I guess he writes books and he talks about white nationalism and, being against people of color and shit like that.
And watches quartering videos.
Yeah, basically. And but he's been doing this for like 2 decades. For him, it's not a fad. But I was saying earlier, I bet you any money, this guy's seen people come and go from his movement like crazy because he sucks in young people and then they grow up and leave, and it just keeps going,
To Israel, and I think all of those things have been really good, and we've had quite a bit of a laugh with it. But I watched JF stream the other night where he was showing clips of Nick Fuentes talking about some of these people who are going, and I do think with anything like this there has to be a plan, and there doesn't seem to be a plan.
Yeah, of course there's
And
not
You
a
mean
plan.
the
He's a
thing with the
20-year-old
TV
kid.
screen where they pulled the cloth off it, but they fucked it up, and then the TV
No, I
didn't work
think he's
for
talking
about 3
about when.
minutes?
No, I think he's talking about NC State, maybe. Or is it, or what's-
Yeah, and basically,
I don't know what it is either.
Yeah, NC
it was a little
State.
bit
I
sort of
had no idea.
disturbing.
North
the way
Carolina?
Nick Fuentes is sending these people out there. He's sort of like, look, my loyal young groypers, go on my behalf to all these events and then say funny things. Then every time somebody gets up, Nick Fuentes says, "Ha, it's a groyper. Come on, man, do us the business." Then as soon as they don't do exactly what Fuentes hopes they do, he's like, "Oh, that guy's a plant. Oh, that guy's an idiot. That guy's low IQ. He doesn't represent me." And
Well, there have been some
he's sort of
obvious
throwing
plans.
these people under the bus. It's almost like saying, right, you know, I'm giving you no training, I'm giving you no direction, I don't know who you are, but go and represent me.
Training.
As soon as
Yeah.
you do something I don't quite like, I'm
That's
just
what it
gonna
is.
chuck you
That's
under
what it is. This guy wants like an army. You know what I'm
What
saying?
the fucking Colette Youth?
Yeah, yeah, that's great, Colette Youth.
Oh fuck.
And then he's talking about Nick Fuentes, and Nick Fuentes, this young dude, he's gotten this huge following, and Mark Collette has never had a following like this because he's such an extreme person. Nobody gives a shit about him. So
Yeah.
he's looking at Nick Fuentes as when it was a younger him and telling him like the mistakes he made. I guess I'm not sure, but that's what it seems like. And he's looking at Nick Fuentes like, "Oh, you have all these people following you. You could do so much good." But like I said, it's a fad. No matter what he did, these kids are gonna grow up and not do this shit. So.
Yeah, nobody sticks with this kind of shit for too fucking long. And when they do, they end up like a David Duke or a Richard Spencer. They're fucking punchline.
Yeah, and people
That's
just
it.
laugh at them.
Yeah.
But in the end, all this whole groiper bullshit is just basically like the no true Scotsman fallacy. It's just like,
What the fuck is a groiper?
yeah, it's what Nick Fuentes calls his group. It's like a 4chan thing. It's a,
Really?
yeah, and it's just basically traditional conservatives calling out new conservatives, but it's a no true Scotsman fallacy. It's basically saying like, we're real conservatives and you're not, and we're gonna shut you down. And it's like, what? Just
So
let
if you're
people-
not a real conservative, you are a groiper, or are you a
No, Nick
groiper?
Fuentes' group is the Groiper. They call themselves the Groiper Army. So you're a Groiper if you're like a traditional, well, if you're maybe not traditional, but if you're his kind of conservative who's against Israel.
How is he gonna talk about being an old school any fucking thing? He's fucking 20.
Yeah, but
Oh,
you've seen the
go
way he
ahead.
dresses and his hair. He totally looks like Reagan Youth, right? Like,
Well, yeah.
straight up.
If you take away his baby face, dude looks 60.
Yeah,
But-
yeah. Yeah, but he looks
Yeah.
like a little kid. And he is. He's a little kid. He's going to grow up and
And
change.
I personally, I don't really think that's, the best thing to do. I think it's a little bit, I think that's a bit out of order. If you ask some people to go and sort of, act on your behalf, and then when they do, you throw them under the bus.
I think that might be a tactical thing. I mean, look,
They're going to
But
argue
it's not a very
over
good tactic,
this.
is it?
well,
It's not a very good tactic. It's like
Man.
go to the gladiatorial.
They're arguing over a 20-year-old's tactics, like political
Yes!
tactics.
That's what I was about to point out. I was like, we're talking about a fucking kid.
A kid's
Like, he's got his
tactics.
shit that together.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. He's
Oh,
just
you
a
just
kid.
don't understand the genius of the teenager.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck
Yeah,
up.
shut up, man. This kid just got out of high school like 2 years ago, and they're talking about him like he's some great political movement.
Like, we don't even know if he's seen a titty yet.
No, I've seen some streams with him. That he said he's tried to talk to girls and girls don't like him. And I'm pretty
Fuck
sure he's a
off.
virgin. He's never had a girlfriend. So
Oh,
I don't.
God.
When Nick Fuentes is hard to tell because he trolls a lot, so it's hard to tell if he's being honest or not. But
Oh, listen.
I saw one
You'll
where
know when
somebody
he
wrote.
gets late.
Yeah. I saw one where somebody wrote in and asked him for dating advice, and he was like, "Oh, I'm the worst person to ask for that. I talk to girls, and they just run away from me. He's like, girls won't talk to me." And I'm like, yeah, that's not a surprise to me at all.
That doesn't shock me.
Yeah, not even
But,
in the slightest.
Yeah, we're going to know as soon as he gets late.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that the content's going to change.
Yeah, so-
Boy's going to buy a pair of fucking blue jeans.
Yeah, right.
You know.
Completely change and grow his hair out and shit.
Yeah, he's gonna fucking do some of that fucking you know.
You have
It's good.
robes. Robes.
Oh shit, Marino said Ed Sullivan Youth.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I
good
can see
shit.
that.
and take on this big hulking gladiator on my behalf, and then as soon as you don't perform perfectly, I'm going to give you the thumbs down and ask for you to be executed. That's, that's not very honourable.
I do see that, but let me walk you through like the way I see it. Right. So, like TP USA is this massive AstroTurf thing with hundreds of millions of dollars behind it.
What?
It's not that massive. It's my secret channel.
From the usual suspects to go and push the usual politics. Nick Fuentes is running a $0 campaign. Like he's not spent. Not a fucking dollar's been spent on this. Aside from like people like their own personal traveling costs to get to the event. And he has the luxury of like whenever someone lands a blow to be able to go, yep, that's one of mine. And if it doesn't come off well, he goes, huh, that wasn't mine. And it's to frustrate the establishment who's sunk so much money into something.
No. It doesn't work like that. Look, these are young people.
Holy shit.
These are young people who are going out.
He's serious. No.
I respect you, Nick. You know, I want to go out there and put myself on the line for you. I'm going to go out there and do you proud. Now, they don't have training. They're not sort of people like Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk goes back to his hotel room. He goes back to wherever he goes, and people will train him. You know, this is a very, TP USA is very well funded. He's getting training.
These motherfuckers are
sending naive young men on his behalf. And then when they don't perform as...
I like how he understands the concept that Nick Fuentes is convincing naive, he said it himself, naive young males to do his dirty work for him. But he's not condemning that part of it. He's condemning the way he treats the naive. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So he's not condemning the brainwashing. That's cool. It's just the way
can't tell if he likes him or not.
He does. He likes what Nick Fuentes is doing, but I think he's just not liking the tactic of disavowing people after they failed or didn't do a good job at, representing them or something like that. But yeah, it seems like he likes him. It seems like he likes what he's doing, just not that one tactic. But it's really funny that he says that he's convincing naive young males, but he's not condemning that part of the story. Like, what a dick. That's what he wants. In the end, that's what he wants. He doesn't care if these kids think for themselves. He just wants an army to spread his word, Oh, shit. God damn it. Where were we? I just lost it.
Oh, fuck.
God damn it. I think we were somewhere around here.
These young people
means
that it's likely to be doomed.
That was damn good.
Now,
I don't agree.
Do you know what?
And it's
I'm gonna
wait,
I'm
Rand.
try and use an analogy here.
Hold on, Rand. Wait, Rand. Let Bibble speak, and I'll let you get in because I know you and Mark.
What kind of name is
Blibble?
Yeah.
Bibble. Speak, so go ahead, Bibble.
Yeah, I just want to say I disagree with that. I think this is just the way that it's done.
This guy sounds like a drunk victim.
This is how kids interact with each other. This is how things become popular with the younger generation. If you try to shepherd it, it instantly loses any kind of grassroots. Now
that's a drunk dude with a voice changer
to the side, and people who get kicked away from whatever's going on with America First. You can then shepherd those people. But what this is doing is it's spreading out.
I love the language these guys. Now he's talking.
I know. They're talking like a fucking. I don't know what. Like a. I don't know. It feels like I'm watching some kind of like a meeting of like the Church of Latter-day Saints or some shit.
It's like a cult meeting talking about how they can brainwash kids.
Yeah, we gotta shepherd the youth.
Yeah,
make sure that they don't. They don't get disillusioned when somebody does something they don't like. We'll shepherd them over here.
It's crazy.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, seriously. But I guess he doesn't realize also he's talking about how it become popular with the youth. But you know what happens when things get popular with the youth? It gets tired, and then the kids grow up and
kids wear shit out.
Yeah, it's called a fad. That's what kids are all about, fads.
These people don't get that they're the Rick and Morty of political movements.
Yeah.
It's trying to reach as many young people as possible by making it counterculture, by making it cool. And as far as if it actually becomes the movement, so to speak, quote unquote, great. If it doesn't, then it still spread that message to how many people who it wouldn't have spread to before. I mean, it's all about numbers.
And to be fair to Nick, the initial people going in and stumping Kirk with really difficult questions wasn't even something that he called for people to do. It was just something that kind of happened, and it's like, oh, hey, if we have these well-rehearsed, very difficult questions that Charlie Kirk, by his very nature of being an establishment shill, cannot answer, we're going to embarrass him. We're going to make him look like an idiot, and we're going to and people on the left also hate Charlie Kirk for other reasons, because he's part of another head of the establishment. They got to fight to make it look like there's really any choice between the two of them. Nick got some very sympathetic media from that, just because.
See, this is the bullshit. This is where these people are blinded by the things they agree with. But Nick Fuentes didn't make nobody made Charlie Kirk look stupid or humiliate him. What happened is Nick Fuentes' fans saw that that way, and
they just said it.
Yeah, and Charlie Kirk's fans saw it as Nick is coming in to troll them. They're not going to change sides. Nobody's changing their opinions on this just because some trolls popped up at a fucking meeting,
Because for the nature that everybody hates Charlie Kirk.
I've read some leftist Twitter. They're legitimately confused as to why people on the right are fighting with him. They simply don't get it.
Rand, I'm gonna ask you a question just 1 second, but let me read these. Yiggs Gallo says Nick later gave support and feedback on his show. Arius Augusta says the guy who he quote threw under the bus was a plant, sending vid to Ralph on Twitter where he admits it. All right, DM that to me. I'll look for it. Constantine's Com says not all Nick.
Yeah,
Casey,
that's what Nick does when people go up and they don't do what he wants them
Rand,
to. He calls them plants. Oh no, he's a plant. He's not one of mine.
In that comment that perhaps are you ready to just throw everything to the side that you want to talk about? What about that?
Of course.
What do you say to that?
Look, I think it's I completely understand, and I admire Mark's approach of absolute loyalty. So when one of your lads stands up and says something, you back him to the hilt, even if he fucks up. Now, I think Nick's tactic is nuanced in this, as there's the even going back to War and Peace, there's the known order and the unknown
War and Peace.
There's the spoken, the unspoken. So when Nick Fuentes, when he watches one of his guys go up and he tries to ask a question and it fucks up, he goes, "Oh, he's not one of mine. Obviously, must be a plant." What's spoken is Nick Fuentes saying, "Oh, he's not one of mine. He must be a plant." What's unspoken is, well, the lad tried. Now, the guy who tried, he doesn't feel like he's betrayed by his leader. He just understands that he failed in his mission. He doesn't instantly become an anti-Nick Fuentes guy. He just understands, all right, next time I'll try harder. That one didn't work. And that's it. That is a dynamic of a true insurgency. That you don't, there's the said and the unsaid.
All right, go ahead, Mark.
Well,
Oh, that is Billy in your Discord? Because Billy wants to come in. I don't know if he's.
Is Billy in my Discord?
Yeah. Let me see.
I don't have a Discord. This is all right. Everybody says this is my Discord. I don't fucking own a Discord.
Okay.
I can't even run a fucking Discord. I got no business.
He got no business.
Yeah, I got no
in
business.
This Discord that we're in right now.
Hold on. I think I can get him in though.
Yes,
I may. Hold on. Bam! If you're listening to this, if you're out there, please send an invite to fucking Billy Bong.
To Billy Bong.
That's how I get shit done. Somebody help, please.
I'll DM her right now and tell her. Let's see. You invite to Discord. Alright, there you go.
Peter in the chat says the Groiper shit is real interesting. How? What is the Groiper shit? I don't get it.
Yeah, it's
just
weird.
It's old versus new, and that's it. It just feels like that feels like the thing. Pretty much everything's going through right now. Where it's.
Oh, you sent me something, right? Ian Mouse Chong.
Oh yeah, it was just the picture of Nick was what I was gonna miss. He's got a mustache now. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He's got a mustache now.
It's like a porn stash.
Exactly. Mark Collette's gonna hate this.
Oh my god, he looks like Tom Selleck. Oh,
He
shit.
kind of fucking does.
Yeah, Magnum PI on the case.
That is-
Billy should be coming in pretty soon.
Yeah, all right, hold on. Let me get to the thing because I don't know if you're able to like pull him around. I'm pretty sure I'm allowed to pull people around. In
Oh,
here.
let me tell him to go into waiting.
Yeah, I'll pull him in and all that good shit. I got this. I'm fucking internet doorman extraordinaire and shit.
Little by little, you're learning all this tech stuff.
Ever so slightly. I taught someone to do something today with the Discord live thing.
Yeah, Devin always comes to me for all the tech stuff. He goes, Alf, how do you do this over here? Oh, there he is.
I'm the same dude.
Dragon Man.
It worked!
There you go. What's up, Billy?
Aaron, Billy.
Yo.
I haven't talked to you in like a year or so. What's up, Billy?
Yeah, I think this was the last time I went on your stream that day. Back in the Kumite days. The first non-Kumite Kumite.
Accurate. Accurate.
We just fucking chatted. That was it. There was no fighting. It was probably the lowest views.
I don't give a fuck. I like talking to you. It's
Yeah.
fucking, it was fun. I enjoyed talking to him, so I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, Billy's a good dude. He's fun to talk to.
He is. He's easy to fucking talk to. He's chill as
Yeah,
fuck.
chill. It's because he's always stoned.
Hey, well, he's all right. Hold on. Even if he's fucking, even though he's chill, if you start getting on some fucking bullshit, you'll see him fucking mollywop somebody like
Yeah,
he did.
with Esau.
Oh, that was fun with Esau.
That was fun. It was fun because it was you, and then I came in to finish off the job and right after.
I heard Cog gave him the clap.
Cog gave Esau
really?
the clap.
Yeah, he was spooning him.
Oh my god, those videos are so funny, man. I can't believe these guys are such nerds, man.
They're pretty fucking weird.
But Billy, you go watch the video we're watching. I think I should say live on mine. I think there's something you can click on mine.
What chat do I have to be in? Is there a chat or
No, you
live on yours?
click on click on Alf's thing, and then it'll have a little box under there where you can
Join
watch the thing.
stream? It says.
Yeah, and then you can watch what we're watching.
This guy's a fucking hammer. I can't stand him, bro.
Who, Mark?
I only seen him twice in my life.
I've known about him for a while. He's
Dude, look at his face. Like, look at that. Everything. Just look at that.
What I love about the picture he uses for his avatar is it looks like a high school graduation picture or something. You know, like when you take the school picture, the way he's posing.
Oh shit! Hold on, is that on your screen? Like,
Yeah,
can they
yeah.
see his high school photo right
Yeah,
here?
that's him. It looks like a high school photo.
Yeah, that
right?
fucking Mark Collette picture looks like a high school photo.
I want to kind of
It's a little
Photoshop
off
those
because
little
the way
like.
he's leaning. But
Yeah.
The backgrounds fits. You know.
I want to Photoshop the background to have like that laser light show.
The
they used to
lasers,
put.
Everyone onto the lasers.
Oh,
I want lasers, bro.
How
This
great
is
would that
great
be?
bullshit.
Oh, Marino said, "Don't bring Billy on. He's boring. Too late.
Oh, shit. Too late.
He's already here. He's
Too
already
late.
here.
That's it. There goes the stream. Everybody's leaving
Everyone
now.
has to suffer now.
All right, let me keep playing this. Billy, do you know what's going on with this Nick Fuentes stuff and all that?
I get. Yeah.
Yeah, you got. the
He
gist.
just he sends some and he like one of the people went up and said some bullshit about Israel. He's like, no, Israel's our friends. That's not.
Mhm.
So like he answered them all normally and shit. So they were like, oh, we got you.
Yeah, we got you,
Throw
but it
your
was
ass
actually like
over.
it was actually like a reasonable answer. Like, and they're all
Yeah,
like,
because
we
it was just
got
like
you.
nah, that was like the shit with McCain and Obama. Where they're
Yeah.
like, he's a Muslim, and then she's no, he's a good guy.
I remember
you know,
that.
Yeah, and they're like, oh,
People
we
act
got
like
him.
that did not happen nowadays, but I remember that shit.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
it's
like
funny.
Charlie Kirk did. So, but unfortunately, he was talking to a Froggo, fucking Kekistani loser,
Yeah, some keck loser.
and
Well,
you know,
I
they
guess
think
that's
he
what
got
Groypers
trolled,
are
and
now,
they're
right?
like,
Groypers
the
are like the
Groypers
new kecks.
are the exactly the
basically.
fucking alt-right Kekistani herbs.
Oh god, yeah, herbs is exactly what they are.
Time will tell how it plays out, won't it? You know,
That's true
if
on
you don't-
everything. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
if you
he's stating
don't,
the obvious.
if you don't actually have a tactic, if you don't actually have, there's two ways you can do things. You can either go in, and this is what Corbyn did. Corbyn and his supporters
Oh, he's got
went
related
in
to British
the Labour
politics.
Party,
Corbyn.
and they took it over. That was their plan, and they succeeded. Then other people have a different plan. Other parties decide, right, what we're going to do is we're going to discredit, say, the Conservative Party, and we are going to build a parallel party to that. And that's what the Brexit Party did. The Brexit Party
Hold on. Vamp just sent me something. I gotta show everybody.
The Brexit party?
Let me see if I can show it to everyone.
Oh, sweet baby Jesus.
She was saying he's cross-eyed. Yeah, he looks like his eyes are a little off, right? This eye's a little off.
I'm serious. Photoshop an earring onto him. Put an earring on it and tell me this guy's not in a fucking 90s movie.
Yeah, he is. Oh my god, look at that.
Tell me he's not.
It's so lame. Oh my god. I really want to put that little laser stuff behind him like a guy's
Let's fucking get a little light show going. Have a little cat zapper too. Do like the whole thing.
Yeah.
This guy's voice
smashed the Conservatives, they smashed every other party, and they won the last major national election in the UK. So there's two different approaches. Corbyn takes over the existing structure. Nigel Farage builds his own party, says, screw the existing structure, and both of them have been very, very successful. Okay? Now, there can't be any really debate over that because both of the things I said are absolutely accurate. But what is Nick's tactic? Is Nick's tactic to take over Turning Point USA and then the official Republican structure and become the structure like Corbyn did? Or is it to smash that rotten old structure and build something shiny and new that everyone flocks to?
Well, first of all, hold on, pause this shit. First of all, he's not building any political anything. He's not trying to be a politician or anything like it. All he wants is his fucking tradcon bullshit. He's a Christian, a hardcore fucking Christian. What's his face? Fuentes.
Nick, yeah.
Like he wants to be married as a virgin. He's a fucking loser. I wish I knew where he was from. He would explain a lot.
I think he's from Texas, possibly.
No, yeah, Midwest. He's in the Midwest. I know that.
Boy, hiding his accent, huh?
But Billy, you and me are round and about the same age. Do you remember like 1994, 5, 6, when bitches started walking around being Buddhist because it was a fashion accessory?
Yeah.
Yeah, but people fucking latch on to anything.
Madonna started wearing that jewel.
I feel like that's a thing kind of happening right now. Like where it's becoming
2 years. These fucking well, not Nick because he's not an atheist, but there's like Alpha was telling you before, a lot of atheists are falling for the bullshit of we need Christian values because it's going to keep the Muslims out.
Yeah.
Okay. They're and like I've been calling this shit out for like 2 years because it's retarded.
And what's the new word of the year? Fucking degeneracy.
Degeneracy, yes.
Oh,
degeneracy. God. Like, okay, look at Nick Fuentes is a Christian and he's a massive herb and he's a virgin and whatever. He thinks he's Mexican, but he's a white Mexican. So whatever. But he wants to be a white nationalist for some reason. Like he just wants this like they don't want to put something new and shiny like this guy is claiming that they'll do. No, it's old shit that we've seen before already. We've been through this already. Like,
yeah.
They want like the 50s back. It's so lame. Like because they wouldn't be able to exist in that time anyway.
No. I always think it's funny that these people think the 50s are so great, but they don't realize what happened after the 50s and why it happened. Like after the 50s we had the sexual revolution, right? It was because the 50s were so sexually repressed that everybody countercultured.
People couldn't live in the 50s. They fucking they would have to get a job first of all. They'd have to move out of their fucking basement and fucking actually get a job. Mm-hmm. They would never so they could never be, and they can't get women.
No, they can't.
So you're not going to find anyone to marry. Nick Fuentes, if he ever actually does get married, it will be someone he met in church. Okay, like, and it will be some fucking.
He'll meet her at the potluck. Is that what you're talking
about? That's too fucking secular.
Oh, the potluck's too risque.
Like, did you ever see fucking Roman Millennials? She's a fucking massive disaster, bro. She's talking about like how this crazy video. I wanted to see it.
I don't think I've ever watched anything that she's done. I remember, like, I used to know people who knew who she was and shit, but I never knew anything.
Roman Millennial. She was on fucking Warski a couple of times, and that's how she got more popular.
People overestimate how much during that time I was actually sitting at the microphone. I legitimately left and went to go get food, have my lunch. I go do other shit. I just left.
Hold on, I'll be back, guys. Hold down the fort. I gotta use the bathroom.
Oh, you're cool.
Yes, this Roman Millennial chick, bro. She's a fucking nut job. She's like an ultra Christian also, and these people are just like nuts. Like, I know you don't care about religion and shit like that, but like, you know, when there's crazy Christians around, like, you're like, these fucking people are nuts. They go nuts about porn, you know, like you guys were talking about with this guy. They freak out about porn and fucking and all this shit. And like Lauren, this girl was talking about how these two guys stole these pagan statues that were given to them by the Pope in the church. They stole them from the church because they were like mad that there were non-Christian idols in there. And she was like defending these dudes that stole the shit. She's like, if you got a problem with them taking it and not a problem with them, you know, worshiping these idols that aren't Christian, then maybe you need to check your priorities. And like, what?
Noid is freaking out saying it's an economically caused thing. And he hates that no one knows that. Denoid's saying that it's economic in the chat. As loud as you can do in text. He says something to do with economics. I think it's kind of this thing where people are starting to think kind of, you know, different political views, fashion accessories almost. That's kind of the, I don't know about the economic thing.
The internet is fucking insane, and all these losers come here. So it's like, this is where the gathering of fucking the most horrible people on earth is, like the internet.
Here's the other thing. My main thing with the internet that I really don't like is that before, when someone was a fucking weirdo or something that was detrimental to those around them, you could discourage it, tell them to piss off, and they would either figure it out, get with the rest of society, or piss off. Mm-hmm. Okay, now they huddle into their fucking room and they find a chat room that will agree with them.
Yeah.
And they don't correct themselves, ever. It never happens. They just find a group that agrees with them and never have to change.
It's crazy. And like the thing with the internet, it's a failure because of this shit. But like we're too normal where we're in the fucking area that the real world can get a little boring and repetitive and all that. So we need a little escape. But the internet is a disaster of a fucking place to come to for that. Like we enjoy it here and there in little doses, but
well, the thing is, we're older
all day like these people, like the way they do it, you know.
Yeah, the thing is, we're older. Like these kids grew up with the internet all their life. Like
that's kind of the thing.
We got the internet when we were teenagers, right?
It's that generation that got the internet before they were even old enough to tie their shoes and shit.
Before the internet, we used to go out and hang out.
Doors to find out if they were home.
Yeah. I used to. While I lived in the city, I used to yell at windows like, "Yo, Bob!"
But like we never even called our friends from the house, even though we had landlines. We just we went over to the house. We didn't even know their number for some.
Oh, that used to happen all
When was the last time you saw a group of kids out on some bicycles just riding around, hanging out, outside, playing ball?
I'm actually starting to see it more. I was talking earlier how like these things, we're getting these new innovations so quickly that we're not adapting to it fast enough, but we will eventually. And we have like growing pains, so we're gonna have like trouble and there's gonna be problems, but eventually things catch up. And like I was saying, maybe before like 2 years ago, everywhere I went, all I saw, you know, smartphones got popular and all I saw was people staring at their phones walking down the street. But now I'm seeing that less, and I'm seeing, like, I walk dogs around the time that kids are getting out of school. And 2 years ago, I used to see all these kids constantly staring at their phone, and now I'm seeing it less. Like I'm seeing more groups of kids talking to each other. So I think we're more adapting to the technology eventually. Maybe like 5-10 years down the line, we're not going to have that much trouble. But, you know, then there'll be a new technology that we'll have to grow into again.
I'm telling you, I get really freaked out when I see people texting each other in the same room.
Oh, yeah, that's weird. That's very weird, yeah.
That freaks me the fuck out.
When you could just raise your voice, be like, hey, can you bring me a cup of water or something? You know?
Well, they're telling secrets. So
oh, yeah.
That's the problem there.
You ever been at like a party and you see somebody texting and then you see another person's phone go bling and you're like, oh, this person's like trying to talk in secret and shit.
Yeah. You can't even pull it. So lazy and out of touch that you can't even stand up, walk over to them, call them to the corner, and be like,
yo, can I talk to you for a second? Oh, what I was going to say about what's going on with these guys is so funny with the Nick Fuentes and Charlie Kirk thing, is that these are the guys who constantly say, oh, the left is eating itself. And what's happening right now is Nick versus Charlie is like the right eating itself, right? It's so weird.
Imagine 2 non-white nationalists for Trump.
God,
it's fucking crazy. These people are nuts, bro. These fucking kecklers.
they are. But I've said this for a while. It's a thing of extremes. Like when you're radical or extreme on something, you have, even if the ideas are different, you still have the same tactics. Like the far right has the same tactics as the far left. They just have opposing ideas, but their tactics are the same. They want to shut the other side down. You know, they call out the other side. It's all the same shit. They all do the same things. They don't realize they're the same. They're the other side of the same coin. You know.
They're all nuts, dude.
Yeah.
I heard him lean back in his chair, shaking his head, dude.
Yeah, like
they're all nuts, dude.
You lean back like a fucking foot and it gets so much lower.
Yeah, it's always that. I always tell you, like, oh, you gotta talk
and then
louder.
you're up
You just
here
lean up
and
a
you're
little
like,
bit.
yo, and it's just fucking so loud. Sorry.
It's fucked up.
Nah, it's all good.
Is the idea just
Oh,
to send
idea.
people to these events,
Just
have a few
this
lives,
fucking guy's voice.
build a
I
channel,
hate it.
and take some super chats?
Anyone who talks like this on
Well,
YouTube,
I think what it is to take an astroturfed,
This guy keeps saying AstroTurf.
astroturfed big money.
He said it again.
What is he
creation.
talking about?
We just had the National Info
No, that's
guy
not.
on
Look,
earlier
you're
this
just
week.
jabbering, mate. You're just jabbering. Which is it?
Hang on, don't give me a yes no. That's a thing. That's a
What?
is a chance to humiliate.
What the fuck just happened there?
They just have a fight? Like, what just happened with
He
it?
says you're just jabbering, and then this guy said, "Don't give me a yes no."
Something went sideways, right? I don't know what happened. What happened with that?
I think.
Yeah, I
just-
think he just played Colette in a way.
Yeah, I think he did.
Because Colette got mad about some shit. He's like, you're jabbering, and just like,
because he doesn't agree with him.
basically, like, you're okay with that. Kill
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Some
Completely
shit.
astroturf political campaign.
Again, AstroTurf.
That's founded by big money.
I don't
and
even know
is
what
just,
that means.
Is just designed to put forward fucking pro migration. It's to push the old Republican line. It has millions of dollars behind it, and a guy with a spending $0 is disrupting it. It's to disrupt big money. It's not to take it over. It can't be taken over because it's not a real thing. It's an AstroTurf thing.
People
from the
really
big money
act
elites.
like
It can't
it's
be taken
against this
over,
whole thing
and
against
it
the
can't
mainstream.
be replaced
Really
either. It's not a
retarded.
real thing. It's a thing that's created
What's
by
plan
the
to win,
rich
then?
elite.
What's the plan to win? Like Corbyn had a
This
To
is
derail
live
it,
now?
to crash it into a
No.
Okay,
No.
but what's the
Oh.
alternative?
I think this was
You
on
either
Friday,
Take it
maybe?
over like
Oh, you were typing in our
or you
chat.
build
Sorry.
your own
Yeah.
You were
people.
typing in their chat.
Okay, so where does everyone go? What happens when you've destroyed it? So he destroys the mainstream Republicans.
He's not
and the
destroying
Democrats
anything.
win. You know, you've got to either have a plan. The
Every
plan has
single
to
one of
be-
those TP
It's funny that
USA
Colette is like right in this sense, but
But I'm still laughing that he's
But for the
expecting a
reason.
20-year-old kid to have a plan. You know what I'm saying with his movement? If it's not even a movement, it's just some troll.
That is kind of the thing that gets me on this is
Yeah.
that you have this dude he's older than I am,
Yeah, I think he's
sitting here
about my age,
banging the
that's
drum about how this 20-year-old kid, like he's like the boy wonder out here.
Yeah,
You know,
kid half his age.
Yeah, he's the King Tut of the white nationalists, I guess. I
think he's only got like 50,000 subs or some shit. Or
Who, Nick?
It's nothing.
Yeah,
He's
it's not
got
that big.
nothing.
But what's funny
Most
is
of these guys got 20 people they know.
What's funny is this is why Mark Collette is so invested in this, because Mark Collette's been doing this for 20 years, and Nick Fuentes is more popular than him. You know what I'm saying? With his 50,000 subs, you know? And that's why he's so
People go on
invested in this.
4chan, for fuck's sake, who cares? Like,
Yeah, that's the Griper thing. It came from in
It's a
4chan, you know,
4chan
the
shit, bro.
Keck frog thing, Pepe Frog, where he has like this pose with his hands under his chin, and that's called a Griper. They call it that for some reason. Nobody knows why.
so people
But that's where
started
it comes
calling
from.
them Groipers.
Yeah, so they're the Groipers because they're watching everything with their hands under their chins, I guess. It looks gay, actually, to be honest. But
people and the anti-TP USA people are going to be voting.
not that there's
for
anything wrong with that.
No, what I'm saying is that these people have to have a plan. You either have to take over the existing establishment from within, like Corbyn did, or you have to have an
establishment,
alternative
Kekistan, you
What
fucking loser.
happens, you know, say Nick
Imagine.
Fuentes is successful, and he completely derails Turning Point USA, he completely humiliates Charlie Kirk, and from that point onwards, he moves forward. Where does he go? And also, there is a very real chance that in the run-up to Trump's 2020 election. And at the moment, Fuentes is still saying that Trump is the man. That's a fact. He's still saying Trump is the man. We all support Trump. I've seen his tweet where he's reaching out.
Is he bashing him for supporting Trump? I would think he would be for Trump too.
We're not against you. We're not against your dad. What happens in the run-up to the 2020 election if Donald Trump is stood there shaking hands with Charlie Kirk and saying Charlie Kirk's the man? At that point, does Fuentes disavow Trump? Does Fuentes say, because Fuentes has set up Kirk as the enemy. So if Trump then endorses Kirk, where does Fuentes go there? I see all of these problems because there has to be some kind of long-term plan.
Well, if I'm going to go further into that, I mean, it doesn't really matter whether Trump wins or fails next year because the European-style socialists.
Oh no, we got one in the chat.
Both parties. We've seen immigration.
You're not answering what I'm saying or making any coherent points. Basically, what you've done is you've argued yourself into a corner because you're not saying. Where does it's a straightforward question.
It's discrediting the establishment.
Okay, so where do people go?
TPUSA is an establishment.
Where do people go?
All right, hold on. I just got a message from Pinoid, and he's apparently jumped. Okay, he's all right. He's already in the. This is not my show, Pinoid. This one is not mine. I think we're on Al's channel.
Yeah, if he's gonna come in here and talk about anti-Israel stuff, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, but if he wants to hang out,
I have no idea.
Cool with that.
I have no idea how long he had. This is from 10 or 12 minutes ago, so I don't know if this is.
Because we're just watching this to laugh at these guys. We're not watching this to argue about Israel or not. I don't want to do that.
Keep us in perpetual war. War is perpetual. As long as there's bad guys, there's war.
Yeah.
As long as there's fucking despots, there's war.
Jacob, I don't really pay attention too much to Nick Fuentes. I just started right now because I seen that he was fucking with Charlie Kirk and I thought it was funny. But I haven't paid attention to his videos. I don't watch him.
Pinoid says he is not anti. All right. Have you talked to Pinoid?
I have once on your channel.
He's. It depends on when you can. I don't know how cool he is now because I only see him in text. That's my thing. I don't know if he's having a good day or a weird day.
It's up to you.
I mean, what do you mean it's up to me? It's up to you.
We can always kick him out. I mean, you can always move him out if he's getting annoyed.
Okay, you can. Yeah, okay. Okay.
I'll just let you know if he's getting annoyed. I'll be like, all right, Taco, move him out.
How? Well, I think this was 10 or 12 minutes ago, so it would have been the thing between. I don't know. Something with we were still talking about Fuentes then?
I guess. I don't remember what was going on.
I'm going to risk it. Pinoid.
Yeah, come in. Fuck it.
Don't fucking make me regret this.
Yeah.
Okay. He wouldn't have heard that. He's 15, 20 seconds behind, so never mind. All right. He's here now. All right. Pinoid?
Yo, what up?
What's up, Pinoid?
Okay, there he is. We can hear you.
All right, cool.
All right. What was the thing?
I like this Groyper shit, man.
Oh god.
They're addressing the symptoms of bigger problems that Charlie Kirk don't want to address.
I don't want to go here, man. Fuck.
I don't even know.
Everybody just stay quiet. Because
I don't know about Charlie Kirk, Pinoid.
Yeah.
All right. Yo, you remember Ron Paul back in the day? Remember how he had that Tea Party movement and stuff? Mm-hmm. It was all anti-tax.
Was Ron Paul the Tea Party?
No. This is Ron Paul back in 08. 11 years ago.
I didn't know he did the Tea Party. I remember the Tea Party, but I didn't know that was Ron Paul.
Yeah,
okay.
The original one. It was all anti-tax, anti-government, that type of stuff. Okay. Well, it ended up getting taken over by the Koch brothers and Glenn Beck and all these individuals. And that's what TPUSA is. It's the Koch brothers, Glenn Beck.
Is that what you think? That's what you think's going. You think they have this thing going. They're going to have kind of a big thing out of Nick Fuentes. He's kind of a little bit of a half-ass star in their community, and that's going to get co-opted. Is that what you mean?
No. I mean, that's what Charlie Kirk is. He's
okay. That's Charlie. Who the fuck is Charlie Kirk? I have not heard that name until today.
The only reason I know him is because he goes to the Politicon and he's had 2 debates with Hassan Piker like 2 years in a row. Not this year, but the last 2 years before this year's Politicon.
Like I've been following like this Groyper War thing since it started because it's really interesting. Like it is really cool watching it happen. Like they had guys like lining up in suits with like rosaries in their hand, right? Like going up, like they went up and they asked Charlie Kirk. They said, "How does anal sex help the conservative movement?"
I mean, it doesn't help it, but it does. It's not a detriment to it. I mean, people can have anal sex if they want.
I know, but it's hilarious.
Oh God. Well, in the end, this is like for just so everybody knows, I am not conservative, so I don't care about either of these 2 guys. Like Charlie Kirk and Nick Fuentes are both jokes to me, so it doesn't make a difference to me.
Yeah,
I just find it funny. I just find it funny.
I like it. I like it. I do. And the 1950s. The 1950s didn't cause the sexual revolution of the 60s because of like, it all standing here like being all conservative. It's because we had like a massive amount of money because we were manufacturing all the world's products. And like all that money led to like the freedom to be able to have females leave the household and do all that type of shit. That's where all that came from.
But they would want to leave the household, right? So you'd think they probably wanted to leave the household because they were being repressed in the society because they couldn't.
No.
Women back then, if you left your marriage, they would be shamed. Like they would be like, "Oh, you've been divorced," and it was shamed upon. It was looked down.
Well, no, like we ended up like like before like the 1950s, like most individuals were living on like a whole lot less money than we had.
Yeah.
And we had this massive amount of money like influx through the union.
No, but what I'm saying is the money gave them the ability to do what they wanted to. Because of the way society was in the 50s. Now, you're right, the money did cause that, but it gave them the liberty to do the things they wanted to do.
Well, yeah, it was that and like that and like washing machines and dryers and dishwashers and vacuum cleaners, which freed up household chores. What I mean? So therefore they weren't tied to that all day long. Yeah. And then they ended up, having a sexual revolution.
But in the end, that's what really, they wanted to do in the first place. Is they were just able to do it at that point. You know what I'm saying? It just gave them the freedom to do that. But it was there. I mean, you don't think women in the 50s who were stuck in marriages wanted to leave, but they didn't? You know what I'm saying?
No.
You don't think so?
No, because they would never have that type of ideology.
Why not?
They didn't have like the
because like see, but that's the thing. Like,
look.
Not everything is ideology.
No, yeah. Plus, there's something you're missing here. Just someone's outward ideology doesn't mean that's their ideology inside. You know what I'm saying? Like some people will show that they're a certain way, but inside they actually want something else. It's like let's put the example of Rock Hudson. He was a famous actor in Hollywood. Being gay in those times was looked down upon. So what did he do? He got married. He had kids. Did he really want to get married to a woman and have kids? No, he didn't.
Elton John has kids.
Yeah, well, but I mean,
he did the do.
But that's what I'm saying. But Rock Hudson in the 50s, 60s, he was pretending to be heterosexual because he would be looked down upon. Later on, if he existed in the 90s, he wouldn't have done that. He would just straight up came out as gay and been like, "Look, I'm gay. This is who I am."
Yeah, but they put up the charade to make it easier.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So what somebody's showing you outwardly, if you think people in the 50s didn't want to leave their homes and leave their marriages, you're fooling yourself. Like they weren't showing that they did, but they did.
When you're still living like hand to mouth, right? Like when you're still standing here gardening every day and having to like do all the household chores by hand, and you don't have, and like it's a struggle every day just to get by. You don't have that ideology of wanting to leave because you need the support of the other individual with you. When you no longer need that support because you have the ability to, just stand here and run a washing machine all day or run a dryer or whatever the case might be.
What I call that is being stuck.
It changes the paradigm of what a relationship is and what you are to that relationship.
I don't know if I can agree with that. I call that being stuck. If they were just blinding themselves by their everyday chores and stuff, then they were just being stuck, really.
Well, think about this. Like before the 1960s, like 90% of people, like they ended up standing here like eating the majority of the food out of their community or their garden. So like they were actually growing their own shit. So it's kind of on that level there where like, yeah, you wouldn't even think of leaving because like you didn't have that freedom. But once you had those luxuries of being able to go to the grocery store and buy canned goods and whatever the case might be, because we had the modern transportation and warehousing, and then, you know, the highway system got put in the 50s under Eisenhower. Like we had all this stuff happen. And it changed the entire way that we looked at our society as a whole.
I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with that at all. I think, like I said before, they were thinking that they just didn't have the means, and the means came, and then they acted out what they were thinking. But I guess there's no way to know. I guess it can go either way. But I feel like there was definitely women who wanted to leave their households. They just didn't have the means to. And then once there was the means,
I don't know. Like to go from like a 2% divorce rate to like a 50% divorce rate in a matter of like 4 years.
Divorce in the 50s was very difficult. You had to have that. You know, it became way more lenient on people later on. But in the 50s, divorce was difficult. You had to go through a lot to get divorced.
In the 60s and 70s, it was too, until Reagan passed that no-fault divorce clause out in California. I mean, they started adopting it nationwide.
Yeah, but in the 60s and 70s, with people feeling more free, they weren't getting divorced, but they were just leaving. You know what I'm saying? They're just getting up and leaving.
Well, no, when they passed the Welfare Act in, what was it, 1967, something like that, you know what I mean, with Lyndon Johnson standing here trying to do whatever it was, like Camelot or whatever nonsense he did, right? He stood here and handed out welfare checks to everybody as, you know what I mean, the manufacturing was being destroyed inside of our communities, and they were going door to door telling people, hey, look, if you kick your man out, we'll give you more money. You know, so like it was kind of like, it wasn't so much that like people were thinking it, it was more along the lines that it was offered to them. And, you know what I mean, it became more of a viable option than before. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like if you have to hunt for your food, right? And, you know what I mean, you have to use a bow and arrow, you don't even think of having a gun because you have no idea a gun exists. But once a gun exists, like, yeah, then you want a gun.
But you don't have an idea of having a gun, but since there's hardship, you have the idea of thinking, man, I wish things were easier. I wish there was an easier way, but there's not. But I wish there was, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I could since I was a kid, I wish I could teleport places. You know what I'm saying? I don't have that. But the second teleport technology comes around, it's not like I'm going to change ideas, you know?
Better than this fucking shit bow and fucking stick. Pointy fucking stick.
But like
we need something that fucking does this, and then they make it.
I wouldn't have the concept, but I'd be like, man, I wish there was an easier way for me to travel from here to, like, you know, 20 blocks away.
I got you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then when that comes, well, I like walking, but I mean in general. But once that idea comes, it's cool. I walk all day, but I was raised in a city, so I mean. Yeah, everything's.
Yeah, I was too, distance. But like I don't know, man. I've gotten old and fat. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, I'll order Chinese. Like I'll order Chinese food from like 3 blocks away.
No.
I'll pay the extra $4.
Listen, man.
I don't care.
That's why you're fat.
Yeah, I know. I ain't pulling you.
I'm 40 and I'm really very thin, and I walk everywhere. I actually have a job walking around too, and I enjoy it.
Yeah, I drive for a living, so like I'm kind of stuck in a seat all day long.
I hear you. Yeah, that's rough. That's
you know, it is what it is. But yeah, man, like yo, I love this Nicholas J. Fuentes, and just because it addresses issues that are way deeper. And Charlie Kirk just can't tell the truth. Like if he did, like it would kind of like the world would come crumbling down.
Is he not telling the truth, or is that really just his opinions, and he just has different opinions?
No, he's not telling the truth.
I don't know Charlie Kirk that much, so I can't say.
Like you gotta check it out. It's really interesting because like if you start looking at like what they're talking about, you know, like where he's talking about like stapling green cards to the back of diplomas, right? And Charlie Kirk also said that like America isn't a country, it's an idea. Like if we existed on a desert island with the Constitution, that would be America. But Israel deserves to exist because it's its own place. And like you stand here and you go, man, look, the vast majority of like the stuff that he's saying, like in Europe, if you ask them like why they have all this immigration, it's because they don't have enough taxpayers to pay for the social programs that they want later, right? And they'll openly admit that. But like in America, they won't admit that. Even like both the Democrats and Republicans will fight against Trump on the wall, right? And this is the reality of the thing. But like nobody wants to address the 800-pound elephant in the room where we're at 1.8 on the replacement level for like kids. You know what I mean? And like so like we need more people to be able to pay the taxes for later on. And Charlie Kirk will not address that, right? And he just keeps going, well, you know, we need qualified immigrants. And the one guy came up and he goes, I'm an engineer. He said, you're basically telling me that you're going to bring in more engineers from overseas, right, and end up putting me out of a job, right? And before I even get started, because he was still in college or whatever. And he has a good point. Like, he has an amazing point there. Like, yeah, all you're doing is flooding the market when we already have engineers in college. We have people getting STEM degrees all the time.
Yeah, but that could be done. That could be done properly if you just find the roles that aren't getting filled and then fill those roles instead of filling the roles that are getting filled. You know.
Yeah, I agree with you to a point. Like, I don't know. I think we should close everything completely and not let nobody in for a while.
Just so you know, my parents were immigrants. Just so you know.
I think, dude, I'm a third generation Italian. Like, I understand what you're saying, right? But what I'm trying to say is this: like, rent prices are too high. There's too many goddamn people. You know what I mean? Like, prices are getting out of control. We're not having any wage growth. And if we had less people coming in, if we had no one coming in, like, they'd end up having to pay us more money. Housing would go down in price, and you know, I mean, we could fix some of these problems of where like you're not able to survive. You know, I mean, on an income of, you know, $15-20 an hour.
I'm in the middle on immigration. I don't want to close the border completely. I don't want open borders either. I think we should probably vet people a little better and maybe fill in certain areas more, you know, more than others. So as it is, if you look at like the West Coast, you know, you have tons of immigration coming from the border. East Coast, not so much, right? Because there's no border there. So,
well, no. Like in the East Coast has massive amounts of immigration.
Yeah, but from different areas.
Jersey.
Yeah, but we're all well. Our immigration isn't bad. I live in an 80% Latino city, and there's very little crime here, and it's the most densely packed city in America. And there's very little crime here. There's not much problem. There's plenty of jobs. Everybody's working. It might be low income because most of these people are immigrants, but it's not. There's no trouble here from it, you know. Now you can look at some other areas of the East Coast where there is. So I'm not saying that that's all of the East Coast. I'm just saying there is a way to make it work. We need to look at what works and what doesn't work, you know, and try to work.
Well, we're having problems like in the Rust Belt where like places in Ohio, like Cleveland, Toledo, Cincinnati, like they have massive bed bugs and scabies problems right now.
Yeah, that's an issue.
What?
Yeah, there's a lot of bed bugs going around.
New York's had that every once in a while. There'll be a little epidemic, and then it'll go away and then come back again.
Yeah, it's been going strong for like 10, 15 years now. It's been ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not going there then.
There's problems out here on the East Coast, like nobody's talking about. They're not addressing any of this stuff. You know? Like they went in Baltimore, they just they released a report where like they couldn't find one kid in the elementary schools in Baltimore that can read at their grade level.
Shit.
But they keep expanding ESL programs.
There's no way they didn't find one.
Not one.
Yeah.
No, they had to have found one.
Not one.
I'd have to look through that.
There has to be one. No, I don't believe that.
Not one.
I don't buy that. There has to be one.
No.
There's no fucking way that there's not at least one. Fuck that. That's crazy.
I mean, if you look at like the East Coast has more South Americans immigration than Central American. And if you look, a lot of South American countries, they already know how to speak English before they even come here. I've been shocked because my mom is from Peru, and I haven't been to Peru in like 20 years. But I've been watching these videos of these vloggers going to Peru, and I'm shocked at how good their English has gotten. Like everywhere he goes, they basically speak English, and it's like, oh shit! Like I remember when I used to go 20 years ago, they were just learning English, and it was really bad. But they would be able to communicate, but it would just be really bad English, right? Now they're starting to speak it really well. They're really teaching their kids that. But I mean, Peru's doing pretty well economically, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I deal with a lot of El Salvadorians and.
Central Americans are doing way worse. Do way worse than South Americans do, or at least the more southern.
They're actually, you know, I mean, like, you know, they speak half decent English.
Yeah, yeah, but Salvadorians also have the gang problems, MS-13 and shit. Like Central America has a lot of gang problems, and we get a lot of gang members from there come in here. Whereas South America doesn't really have too big of a gang problem. They don't, you know, we don't. There's like, can you name any South American gangs? I'm sure you can't. Like, I don't know any.
Maybe I think his phone exploded.
Colombia. Did it?
Like, right when he left, he like talked about it. Like you start bringing up the gangs. I saw a news story about that like 2 or 3 days ago. That shit was horrifying.
Of what?
That happened with the people going. Was it Mexico? Mm-hmm. Or did they get? I don't remember where it was. Mexican actually, mafia. It was. Yeah, somebody. It was a family. They go down. The whole family got killed. Holy shit!
Yeah, I did hear about that. You're right. Oh my
like,
god,
bad
terrible.
Got killed. Crazy shit.
Chopped up and shit.
That's a fucking horror movie.
Yeah, that's right. People tend to lump all Hispanics together, but there is a huge difference between Central Americans and South Americans. Very huge, enormous difference. They may speak the same language, but they're totally different cultures.
No, that's
Oh well, let's continue with this video then.
There you go.
Well, that's the thing. You see, like we need to have an out and out public plan from one move to the next. When we're dealing with like the TPUSA is fake and gay, and for that reason alone, it should be challenged and humiliated. Do we even need a plan beyond that? There probably is. I know various people have various plans, and they don't make it public.
Of course,
they don't put it out there. You put something out there in the open, it can be
take over what exists, or smash it and have an alternative for the people.
This guy, you have to smash it and bring an alternative. Oh my god!
Publicly, when you're at war,
these are almost like social war tactics, right? That this guy's talking
about. That's what I was gonna say. Is that doesn't sound like a peaceful thing.
No. Yeah.
Like they always talk about how we're talking about peaceful. It's like, okay, well, I always thought that smashing things was kind of violent.
Yeah, like, it sounds violent to me.
It sounds like a very aggressive thing to do.
Sounds like he's not talking about it, but it sounds like he's talking about like a coup or something, like taking over the government.
I dare say it sounds more like that than a sit-in or a boycott or some shit like that. You know, it's.
Oh my god.
I don't know, man.
Have to have.
I have no doubt that Fuentes has a plan. I have no doubt that other people have plans.
A 20-year-old Mexican virgin has a plan to fucking take down government economics.
A 20-year-old goofing off on the internet.
Can you imagine being this fucking big brain?
Here. Like, why is this a thing? Like, why are we even watching this? This is crazy.
Because it's hilarious.
Bro, I can't even believe the kill stream still exists. Where?
Yeah, this is D-Live?
On YouTube?
No, dude, they're not on YouTube.
People are still forking over cash to these people? Like,
I can't imagine they do a lot in large numbers, do they? I mean, how else is Ralph going to make money, right? I don't think he has a job, does he?
How do they get the money?
I don't know, man.
Give him the money, bro. It's great.
I don't know.
Ralph is an adult too. He needs to support himself, right? Like, how is he doing that?
Oh, it's so crazy.
Like, the thing that Billy said, where it's like you're looking at a fucking kid, and it's like he will save us.
Yeah, they're looking at him like he's the Messiah or something.
Save us. The fact that they're even saying that is crazy. Like,
he's the one who's going to lead the revolution. He's the one with the plan. Motherfucker, you're 40 in a high school photo, and you don't have the plan yet. What is he doing?
Claim to be from the best country on earth, and these people revolutions of sorts and fucking. They're just like, what?
Yeah, is this like first world problems or what?
Like, they're just as horrible as the Chomsky fuckers, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying.
Like on the other side, they're the same shit.
That's why I say that they're the opposite sides of the same coin, right?
These isolationists / fucking virgin losers who don't get laid and have weird sex lives and fucking socially awkward. It's all the same. They just like different shit.
Somebody in the chat said, "Why does every moron on Ralph's stream speak exclusively through their noses?"
I know, the fucking weird nose speak, bro. Drives me up a fucking wall.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Pinoy put in the chat that he sent me the article. I went and looked at it, and yeah, it's a news station it's like a little local news station, and they did a study, and they found no kids. This is fucking lame.
Wow,
that's bad. Shame on you, Baltimore.
Sisyphus said it's actually one of the biggest streams on D-Live for whatever that's worth, you know.
For whatever the fuck that's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like fucking 100 frogs.
Do you guys remember when everybody started getting kicked off all these guys started getting kicked off of YouTube, and they were all like, let's move over to D-Live, it's going to be the next big thing.
No, they were all going to Stream Me for the revolution.
Yeah,
that's where they were going. And when Stream Me blew up, and then the other place kicked them, and they were like, you know what, maybe we need to calm down about this fucking revolution.
Yeah. Or at least
let's just slow our motherfucking rolls real quick.
Something.
Oh god, I remember
They keep banging on about BitChute now, the same way they did before. It's like when people on Twitter bang on about Gab, and it's like, you know, you don't want to be on Gab.
Gav is a fucking mess.
Oh yeah, now they're totally anti-porn. They're coming out as that, and everybody's like laughing at them, saying, "Oh, you guys are the free speech bastion, but you're anti-porn." What? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
What
It's
do you
not
expect?
free speech.
Yeah. So
What the
stupid.
fuck do you
It's not free speech.
I remember Devin. Oh, it was maybe a year ago. He made a video on these guys talking about. I think it was Ethan Ralph when he got the kill stream taken down from YouTube, and he was talking about, well, what do you expect? Like, your chat is toxic. All they ever talk about is, Nazi this, Nazi that, 1488, And he's like, and you guys never call them out and tell them, just so you guys know that we don't believe in that stuff. Jokes are jokes. That's cool, but we don't believe in that stuff. They just let it fly. And he's like, what do you expect? And then Andy Worski wanted to start a war with Devin over it. He was like, "Oh, look at him, he's bashing you, bro." And then look at where Andy and look at where Andy and Ethan are now. They both hate each other. It's like he was standing up for him for something that he wasn't even bashing him. He was just saying, "Hey, your chat, you got to expect that you were going to get kicked off of YouTube. Look at your chat."
They lost their fucking shit on each other because that's kind of
Yeah, that's all.
Now that ends up happening when you're a really crazy, self-destructive, creepy motherfucker like all of these people are. But at least they're not looking to a fucking 12-year-old for the fucking answers to their lives.
For the revolution. For the white nationalist revolution.
At least their George Washington has pubic hair.
Wait, they're not looking for a Mexican virgin?
It's so weird. Look, I talked to that Nick Fuentes kid, and I talked to him one time, and it was about, like, Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. Like, he was trying to explain cryptocurrency to me, because I still don't get that shit. No, I can't remember who brought him on to talk to me about that. But I talked to him about that. He seemed like a nice enough kid, or whatever, but yeah, I asked him about cryptocurrency. I didn't fucking think he was baby Jesus.
Mexican baby Jesus.
Baby Jesus.
Yeah, baby Jesus.
Goddamn.
And they don't talk about the.
I'm sure they have a plan.
I'm sure
they have a plan.
Fucking accent.
I'm sure.
Chat. Tank in the stream.
You're attacking his character, not his
that much trading. Neither was Cog. That's a little difference aside from quarter
Neither
pounder.
was
Isn't
Cog.
asking
He
for money
mentioned
to
Cog.
show up.
God.
Let's see. Also,
Why
why
anybody
is Mark
talks about
watching
Cog is
JF? Does he
beyond me.
know his girlfriend is a pedo? Also, JF is a Spencer nut hugger equals hates Fuentes. I will leave. I have issues with JF, but I don't speak about them with Mark because that's not, that's separate. I keep that separate. I do have.
Infighting is fake and gay.
Well, right. I don't try to drag other people into. I have said.
It's not his voice. Well,
yeah, what was that about?
Let me bring some callers in.
Oh, here we go. We're gonna have some callers.
We're on the radio, guys.
Okay, Kiosk Man, go ahead. You ran early, man. Sorry it took so long to get you on. I apologize for that. Go ahead.
No problem. Rand kind of stole my thunder a little bit earlier when he used the word insurgency, but I think the point that we need to get across is that Nick's tactics are successful. The thing that what you need to
They're
do
successful
is
to
follow
his
up and
fans.
have parallel organizations set up to replace TPUSA, or at least
Look at how
crowd them
successful they
out.
are.
Yeah.
Start having
Charlie
our
Kirk's
own-
thing is just
Like an
gone.
alternate
Right?
organization, kind of like a shadow TPUSA almost. Is that what you're saying? Like that doesn't.
Well,
Why do they always use the word shadow? That's another question I got. Why is the word shadow so popular? You know what I'm talking about, Billy? They're always shadow band. It's a shadow company. It's a shadow this, shadow that. Everything's shadow.
Or gay apps.
Gay ups.
Well, that's one. But like the shadow thing is much more far-reaching.
Yeah.
Like everybody feels like if they put the word shadow before
They
it,
believe in the Illuminati, bro.
accurate. Okay.
I'm not joking. Like this is like they wouldn't outright say I believe in the Illuminati, but they're fucking anti-gun. They're fucking nuts.
Well, that's what Mark Collette's thing is, right? That he thinks the Jews are running everything. The Jews have taken
yeah,
over,
they're fucking
doing
crazy.
this.
They're worried about the Jews.
He thinks the Jews. That's what he was talking with Devin about when he was on the kill stream.
They're
with
worried
him.
about 16 million people.
Was Mark Collette
Not
said
billion, like not fucking 6.
Mark Collette said that Jews have a plan to make white people feel guilty. And I'm like, what? Over the Nazi thing. And I'm like, what? I was like, this, only a European can think like that. Like, no white person in America feels guilty about the Nazis killing the Jews. Because we weren't part of that. And nobody in America was part of that, It's so weird. But he's like, oh yeah, they have a plan. They're trying to make all white people. That's like, yeah, you live in a small world, buddy.
You live in a society.
China has like over 1 billion communists, and they're worried about fucking
16,000.
the Jews, bro. Like 7, 8 million here, million there. Like, what the fuck are they nuts?
Weird.
Like I have a war.
Well, why not? Wouldn't that be it? Like I'm just sitting here thinking.
Have a wartime mindset.
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna let you talk. Hold on, wait. Stop talking over me.
God damn. Ethan Rock flexing muscle and shit pounded on his chest.
What the fuck was that?
Wait. Stop.
I am the host. I'm hosting.
That's great.
It was sorry. I'm not gonna let you speak over me. Now. What I was saying was, wouldn't it be really helpful if at some of these events you would have people out there signing other students up who were critics for another organization? I mean, the base is right there. So it just
that's exactly what the call is saying. He's right.
Yeah.
The call is right.
Well, that's one idea.
Right.
Or you could have this thing where we're infiltrating TPUSA and subverting them from inside.
Oh my God! What the fuck? Turning Point, I think it's called. Turning Point USA.
Yeah, that's Charlie Kirk's shit.
Oh my God.
Also, what the fuck?
They're talking about infiltrating the organization and putting their members in there to, like, I guess, trick them from
take I guess over. The shadow of it.
Let me tell you, am I wrong on this, or are these guys totally like LARPers on the internet thinking
this is really LARPing?
Yeah, straight up LARPing. Oh my God.
This is video game shit.
Yeah.
If you
they're
look
gamers,
at Ralph,
bro. They're just gamer dorks.
Yeah, if you know what Ralph's like, and imagine Ralph, this whole idea of him like throwing on the fucking Metal Gear Solid outfit, and he's gonna fucking go in and infiltrate any fucking thing.
The tight Metal Gear Solid outfit.
You know what I'm talking? That's what they sound like. Fucking goons out here.
It's like you think it's a meme to say that this is what they are.
You know they take it seriously.
It's so crazy.
Take their position.
Who's that? That's Devin.
Devin.
Yeah, what's up, Devin?
Yo.
You can't burn the house down.
This is bizarre. I'm in Tonka's Discord on Alp's stream.
Yeah. It's like Inception. We're deep in these dreams.
It's pretty deep, Laura.
How do I listen to this stream as you guys are playing?
Click on my name and a little thing will pop up. It'll say to join the stream or whatever.
Amazing. I'm on it.
I think we could do this from now on instead of the way we were watching stuff. This
is the best thing Discord's ever done.
Is this new?
About a month or two ago.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
But we just kind of started figuring it out.
Yeah,
that it wasn't just for games. Yeah, you have to go into your game thing and be like, I don't play games. I need it for browsers.
I need it for Google Chrome instead of the game.
Yeah, they're all gamers, so they're up to date with all that stuff. All right, this is a beautiful cringe fest you guys are engaged in.
I don't know if you just missed what happened, but they're talking about infiltrating Charlie Kirk's organization and trying to build up to the top levels of the organization to take it down from within. These guys are totally LARPing.
It's happening.
You touched on something interesting, which was envy and popularity. So who has the power in that dynamic? Like Charlie Kirk has a bunch of mainstream, not cred,
mainstream
but
people,
notoriety. Like he's going to Politicon and stuff. Where Nick Fuentes isn't at Politicon. Is he getting shut out of that stuff?
I think so. I don't think they allow him to go to a lot of things.
But how many times more is Charlie Kirk's organization than say the America First people?
Oh, way more.
100 times.
Yeah, like Nick. I think Nick Fuentes has like 50,000 subs. Charlie Kirk has endorsements from huge corporations and stuff like that. Like he's way more big time than Nick.
But YouTube, Al.
Yeah, but YouTube, yeah. But I've captured the youth.
Well, he thinks it's part of the new media, bro.
Yeah, it's interesting because you get lost as to numbers and the relevancy of all these things, especially comparatively. So it's nice to take a step back and be like, wait a minute, what is this? What's happening here?
Yeah.
Somebody blew themselves up too big.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. And I couldn't get enough of it. I listened to 5 minutes of Tonka today. He was talking. There was some nerd on the kill stream. Holy shit. What's his name? Diorio?
Yeah. A big. That guy. Fucking Porky Pig motherfucker.
But he's one of those self-aware dorks he's not even trying to deny that he's like a fat little grub. I mean,
yeah, that's one step at least. If you can.
So what's wrong with being
guys like that? They strike me as like a Chinese finger trap. Like they just want attention. Like you can't. You just have to avoid.
But it's better to be self-aware than be that and not be self-aware, right? That makes it so much worse.
What's that British dude's name that is the
Mark
Holocaust
Collette.
Oh yeah, Mark Collette, right. Look at that suit and that
we were talking about I was saying like a fucking high school photo.
Yeah, I was saying it looks like a high school photo. I wanted to Photoshop the little lasers in the background like they did in the
Get the big one, Alf. Put the big one up here real quick.
Yeah. No, because the high school would make you stare straight at the camera. This is like a glamour shot from a mall.
Just the idea of a glamour shot is. I haven't thought about one of those in so long. Oh Jesus!
His little crooked eyes. Look at this eyes, like a little too far in.
Bro.
What was the idea with the part? What was?
Yeah, this.
What was the plan with 9 hairs parting? Right.
He does look like he's stuck in the 90s, like you were saying before.
It's like he had a little miniature Moses on his head, but he didn't have much power, so he's just like, I can just get a few hairs.
It's like he's flying back from some exotic jungle country, and he's trying to smuggle a rare beetle through his face.
He who walks between the rows.
Do you think a guy like that just festers over time? Do you think he's getting more hardline, more bitter?
He's been doing this for 20 years. He's been talking against Jews for 20 years, basically.
The thing is, yeah, I think you guys were mentioning this earlier, but like these guys who are assholes and losers, they find other people who will give them an audience, and so they have a life that is way more filled with like validation than normally
it should be. Yes.
Because they have an audience. I mean,
that's what the internet provides.
A fan of yours, like a straight up fan of you, you're gonna strut around. Most people don't have that.
Devin, before the internet, they were relegated to the basement.
Think of a guy like Esau. Do you think Esau thinks he has fans?
Yes.
Oh my God. You think so? I don't know.
But so that's like he's a 500-pound man with fans. I'm hearing an echo on you, Alf. Is that happening?
Are you?
Well, he tried to flex on Blossom.
Oh,
when he came on the Blossom show, he's flexing about his fans.
Oh, he has more viewers.
Okay, I hear that. Let me.
But why would you flex on people like Blossom or Vamp or even Tonka, who are not trying to like say they have all the subs in the world or all the views? It's so bizarre. It's like saying I bench more than a dude who doesn't bench or doesn't work out. It's just
you're flexing for no reason. Yeah, there's nothing to flex for.
Well, the problem is that when Esau streams, he doesn't get more people than Blossom.
Oh God, really?
It doesn't happen.
Unless he brings on a name, and then he'll take credit for that.
No, he had a name on and got 23 people.
Oh,
he doesn't try to suck anyone's dick, remember?
Yeah, it's fucking Esau, Devin. What are you talking about?
You remember that? He was just like, name like 5
What is
people.
the amazing thing is, you guys find the most, well, I find them too, bottom of the barrel human beings ever. And yet those people still feel that they're worthy of streaming. They're worthy of having a microphone and broadcasting to the world.
Yeah.
There's no bar that you have to clear in order to do this.
No. Anybody could do it, right? Anybody could just start a channel.
Yeah, I'm thinking that maybe we should rethink that.
Yeah.
But then again, it's very entertaining. So
it is. Well, I was saying earlier with this Mark Collette guy, I think he's taking such an interest in what Nick Fuentes is doing and trying to like say the way he should do it, because he's been doing this for 20 years and he still isn't as popular as Nick Fuentes is, who only has 50,000 subs. I've only been doing this for like a year or two, you know? So he's trying to jump on that, right?
Yeah, it's all ass kissing.
Yeah.
It's like Ralph he kind of reminds me of the alt-right sort of fuck lord. Is that a thing? Shit lord.
He wants to be like an alt-right Conan O'Brien or some shit. I don't know what the fuck Ralph's trying to do these days.
Yeah, but he kind of reminds me of Dave Rubin because he's a kiss ass who's just trying to network and just trying to use people's fame to elevate himself.
Yeah.
And he's hoping that through osmosis he will gain relevancy. even though DLive, Jesus. It's like
fucking DLive, son.
When was the last time you just typed in DLive? If I typed in DLIV, my browser would not autocomplete.
It'd be like, do you mean to life?
Do you mean to life crew?
Did you mean to life crew?
Alright, let me continue on this and see what this guy says.
Take over the house and kick out the bad guys, or you burn the house down with the bad guys in it, and as all the good guys flee, you say, hey, look, we've got this shiny big new house for you to come and live in. You can't be like, ha, we're agents of chaos. Let us burn the house
problem
down.
that you're going to have.
Yes.
Because the problem you're going to have is if you burn the house down and nobody has anything to go to, then the people that created TPUSA just create TPUSA 2 Electric Boogaloo, and then they're just going to bring everybody into that, and you're back to square one.
Exactly.
But they're only going to have the same.
People in the chat go, "Oh, Mark's a boomer." What, for wanting somewhere for
God,
all of
the
the
boomer, like the favorite meme right now. It's sick.
I like that he's looking at the chat and it's bothering him. He's like, "Oh, the people in the chat are calling me a boomer."
Bro, the meme is 50
Every time he
years
talks,
old.
I want to say, no thanks, we don't need our chimney cleaned today.
Chimney sweep there. We don't need a chimney sweep today. No thanks. Oh my god.
People are now disenfranchised with the burning TPUSA house to go. No, that's not being a boomer. That's actually having a plan, and that's having a logical force.
See, this is what he's completely missing, is that he's still talking about a 20-year-old kid. Yes, you're the boomer, because this 20-year-old kid don't give a shit about a plan. What 20-year-old kid cares about some sort of this plan that this 40-year-old guy is talking about? He don't give a shit.
It is absurd to spend a single waking moment concerned about Nick Fuentes on any level.
Yeah, trying to give tactics for some movement that some 20-year-old kid is talking about. Oh, God.
The way this guy just said the word logical, it took 5 seconds for him to say that word. Logical. It's just
logical.
Oh, I hate it. It's like he's just chewing on a... I don't know.
How well do you know British accents? Do you know what region he's from? From his
It's
accent?
northern. It's definitely like,
It's from
I don't know if
hell.
it's Manchester. It could be like Birmingham or Sheffield or something. I don't know.
Side, I'm saying that, okay, Fuentes, and I praised him for this.
I like how he really pronounces the U in Fuentes, right? Fuentes. So weird.
He set fire to the TPUSA house. Lots of good people are saying the house is on fire. We want to flee, and where are they going to flee to? And this guy gets it. They're going to flee to TPUSA 2 because there is no genuine alternative being set up by the people who set the house on fire.
Well, I think some time in the wilderness would do them good.
All right, thank you, Chaos Man. I appreciate you calling, man. You got anything else, real quick?
No. Well, basically, all I wanted to get across is we kind of have to adopt plurality of tactics if you want to win, because the left has outmaneuvered us for the last 50 years. So it's going to take things like Nick's rabble rousing. It's going to take things like creating parallel organizations, and it's going to take things like getting your people that are, got their power level hidden into the low level of the machine to fuck it up when the time is called. You need all three brands.
What are they planning on doing? What is the
revolution?
They want to get rid of the mainstream conservatism for their trad conservatism.
Yeah, but what policy are they trying to implement? Like
religious ones.
Yeah. Jorky. They're acting like there's some battle that they're involved in. Like,
yeah, that's what we're saying before. They're LARPing. It's like they're talking about infiltrating an organization. You're not infiltrating shit. You guys are LARPing on the internet. You're not doing shit. It's so weird.
Lord.
But they're like anti-Israel. They're Christian, and no porn, no sex, without marriage.
When I started getting really into the internet and making videos, I thought that the internet was like this bustling place, all these cool things to like distract me and to engage with, but also really intelligent people, ideas. And I thought, this is really the cutting edge. This is where I need to be. So I left normal activities like watching sports. But recently, I've gotten back to watching sports.
Yes.
And honestly, I feel it's as important for me to talk to you about the San Francisco 49er game and like how many sacks they have, and like, I mean, there's a beauty to that, to the simplicity of like, I'm going to spend my time doing this thing which I enjoy instead of engaging in this fuckery. Like, what is this? Quartering got called out on what? Quartering is like a chilled out, mellow, gentle giant from Milwaukee who
Yeah,
gets
just
drunk and
talks
plays
about
video
nerd
games.
shit. Yeah.
And talks about how Marvel's getting taken over by women. Like what? Yeah, I mean
70 videos on Captain Marvel.
Yeah, but I mean, how is that a threat? Especially to like
No,
a
you're
geek.
right.
So the geeks are threatened by like the uber geek. Is that what it is? Or they want some of his geek cred? He's the king of the geeks.
What was Taco? What were they calling him out for in this stream? Do you remember?
He's muted.
Tonka.
Oh, Taco's muted. Never mind. Yeah, I don't know what they were calling him out for. It's probably some bullshit. I heard the beginnings of it. It seems like somebody was making fun of him as a joke, and he fell for it and got a little angry about it. And then they got him on here, and they were like, "Oh, he was joking." And then Quartering was just like, "Oh, he was joking. Okay." But then they just kept bashing him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I don't think Quartering does anything political. I don't think he does any politics, right? He just does nerd stuff.
He does that.
It's also about jealousy. Like I like punching down. I just like punching.
I just like punching, yeah, in any
punching
direction.
up or down. So like I'll punch a guy who has like 5 subs, and I'll punch a guy with 1 million subs. Like I've done both those things. Although I don't do like call out videos anymore. But I mean, Ralph Retort and all these guys, they're always looking for people who are, popular to sort of leech. They never go after the rando, do they? They don't have like a whack pack.
Oh,
See,
they do.
that's
They
why I
said
like
their
about
whole
Tonka.
whack pack goes, yeah,
Him and his
after
crew will
you.
go after a guy who's just absolutely has no claim to fame. Is just the biggest freaking loser in the universe, and has no business being talked about. And they'll put like a 5-hour show about that dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny because it's so wrong. It's just like the universe was not supposed to experience that, but they do it anyway.
Yeah, it's weird.
All right, thank you, Chaos Man. I appreciate you calling in. All right, thank you.
What a shit show.
And somebody in the chat said, Ralph, actually, you talked over him. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm the host. I'm allowed to talk over. I was trying to expound. I'm trying to put the point. I was trying to put the point out there, and then I was going to let him go back to speaking right away. Yeah, I mean, I'm the host. I can cut people off at will. I thought you
Gator?
knew that already. Bits of Cowboy says, have we started the fire, brother? The fire rises. All right, let's take another caller.
I'll take another caller.
Reloaded AK, you're on the kill stream. Go ahead.
Oh my God. Radio
okay, I
voice.
don't know if I want to go too much into
Look at this guy.
the Groyper topic, but I just wanted to say that Nick has talked about the way that Nick's like talked about gone after the question askers and stuff like that during the events. I have to mute the stream. I'm getting. There we go.
Red leader.
Yeah, Red leader. Rogue Squad.
He's nervous to be on this show.
And also
can you
not
imagine
jealous
that?
that you're muting the stream.
Go ahead. It's okay. Go
God
ahead.
damn it.
God damn.
The way when Nick was going
You
after the
fucked up,
people that were asking
Normie.
questions, they were asking, doing so foolishly. It was more so during like a live reaction during the stream. On his America First streams, he has gone back and gone over pretty much each question and critiqued them. Even people like Papa Groyper, or whatever his old man Groyper. He went
Grandpa
I was actually there for
He went over and said-
at the Matt Walsh event, and David Duke's name did, and I guess we could ask Mark about this. Hold on, I want to ask him about this now that you mentioned it. Sorry, I'm gonna
Papa
have to.
Groyper's like Papa Wolf.
So you know what this reminds me of? It's almost indistinguishable from that signal that comes on, that beep, when at the end of a broadcast day on television, where it's all beep, just
The
absolute
emergency broadcast system.
nothing. This
Yeah,
is just
static.
white noise. Like
Yeah.
I hear words, and my brain recognizes English, and I hear stupid accents,
But it means
and
nothing.
it just is ricocheting off my frontal lobe, and it's not penetrating. Like, I think it's because my subconscious knows this is unimportant to my survival
Yeah.
on a really profound level.
Yeah.
So I can't even understand what they're talking about.
That's just straight psychopath.
It's like Grandpa Groper is, he's talking about infiltrating, and it's like, what the
Grandpa Groyper. Oh my God, that's great.
It's just, what more evidence do we need that these guys are
Well-
just like LARPing on the internet, right? They give themselves code names and all this stuff. It's like, what the?
Here's what I want to know. It's not whether or not they get pussy. We know they don't get pussy.
Yeah, no.
How many square miles away are they from a pussy? Like, I want to know the geography of how close.
Yeah,
it
I said
take
before, I
in
want
a
to know
dead
where
sprint for these people
Fuentes
to
is
get to a
from.
vagina.
Not counting family members.
Yeah.
Wait, let me fast forward. Let's go back to Mark Collette. I'm gonna fast forward. We'll get to him because he's the biggest joke on here.
Start getting on the disavowal train. The disavowal train doesn't.
Is
have
he
any-
saying disavowal? What is? Oh no, I gotta hear that again.
Disembowel.
Yeah, that's what it sounds. Disavowal. Like what? Let's go back a little bit, tiny bit.
Go back to the
Difficult
start.
to shy away from defending a person like that in public if you know it's going to hurt your political standing.
Hurt your.
Look, if you start getting on the disavowal train, the disavowal train doesn't have any stops.
Why is he putting an L
keeps
in
on
it?
rolling.
Is that like one of the trains for the Holocaust?
Yeah, the Holocaust.
The sort of direction of the train and how quick it goes. So once you're on it, your enemies are the ones driving it. They're the ones telling you who to disavow next. So,
What an analogy.
Nick Fuentes goes on somewhere and they ask him to disavow
Disavowal?
David
He keeps
Duke.
putting
And I'm
L's in
sure
it.
he would in a heartbeat. I'm sure he'd be like, yep, I'm doing that. And for most people, that would probably be quite an easy decision. But then the next time he's on something, they'll say, well, will you disavow Identity Europa? Will you disavow American Renaissance and Jared Taylor? Will you disavow? And they'll keep asking him this until he has more or less disavowed everyone. Because once you start disavowing, it's very hard to stop.
How many times can you say
And
disavow?
what they say about David Duke will be the same as what they say about everybody else.
It's like David Duke says.
And you've seen how they used that against him in the past. And all I'm saying is the guy who said David Duke hasn't been in the clan for 40 years. I mean, David Duke left the clan before I was born, before most people watching this show were born. And the fact is, you know, as soon as you have begun that, the best thing you can do, if somebody says, do you disavow this person? And let's do something absolutely...
Pause. So they bring up David Duke, which is interesting, because what he's saying is true. David Duke left the clan a long time ago, but the only thing that anyone ever knew about David Duke was that he was part of the clan.
Yeah.
So like, that was the bumper sticker on the guy. And from what I've heard from him, I've heard him on, what's his name? JF?
Yeah.
He went on there, and, you know, a lot of times when they're in public, they sort of mask their true shit.
Yeah, they tone it down.
You know, right? Like Richard Spencer, you heard the tape, the leaked audio. But he was a more chilled out Klansman in the 70s, like way more chilled out than any like of the Klan prior, or especially the 1920s. So he wasn't about violence or anything like that, which is interesting because I saw the Spike Lee movie where they lied and they made his Klan be a violent terrorist organization trying to like bomb people. They made all that up for the Black Klansman, and the reason they do it is because they would love a guy like David Duke to be just a raging Nazi, like,
yeah.
I mean, but he's not. He is toned down. But there's no arguing this, so because all you have to say is, no, he was part of the Klan. You can't defend a Klan. He's part of the Klan. He's a monster. He's Satan. He's Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, he's a leathery-faced, steroided, looking like Chuck Norris. Like, I don't know what he's about, but I suspect that if you were to investigate him, he's way more moderate, and he's not the boogeyman that people want him to be.
Yeah, sure.
They did the same thing with Jared Taylor. Richard Spencer is, even after that stupid rant, he's more of a joke than anything.
Yeah.
You know, he's just this weird closeted gay dude, but there's such a shortage of villains, especially for white identity, anything, that they will, I mean, if you even have a kernel of truth in vilifying a guy, they'll just blow it up. So the world is hungry for that. If you want to become famous, become an outspoken white whatever, and they'll do the rest.
Yeah, it's true. They'll push it up, make it worse than it is.
Yeah, and the reason they need villains, the reason they're not looking for heroes is because they are the heroes. They've already determined that they're the hero. But they can only be the hero if they have the villain.
Yeah.
Imagine a movie, Spider-Man, the next Spider-Man, it's just like Spider-Man deals with puberty, and there's no villain in the whole movie.
He's just swinging around New York looking for trouble. There's nothing. Like
right. It's like an in-depth look at Spider-Man and his next relationship with a girl.
Yeah.
Like, what? No. I want Spider-Man to be tested, and he's only can be tested and heroic if we find, a dude, some octopus guy or Green Goblin or whatever.
Yeah, they need conflict, right? If there's no conflict, you can't be a hero. You can't win if there's no...
And oh, by the way, for as much as I detest Trump, they've done the same thing to Trump.
Yeah.
Trump,
of course.
I mean, Trump is villainous and he is a cunt, but they've still blown him up.
Yeah. I mean, we've been saying this since he went into office. I was like, they keep calling him out for bullshit that's not real when there's actual shit about him to call out, you know?
Well, I heard it the other day. AOC tripled down. She went on some show and she's like, oh, I talked to experts and historians and they all agreed with me that the situation on the border is concentration camps. She's like, I know I got a lot of pushback and people said it was insensitive and I was like diminishing the Holocaust and what happened there. No. They are concentration camps because they're fenced off cages or whatever. It was the most idiotic attempt to use the phrase concentration camp. And she knows all she's doing is trying to ramp up the rhetoric.
Yeah, fear-mongering. Straight up fear-mongering.
Yeah, but it's not to say that the conditions down at the border are not deplorable or worthy of, condemning. But she has to be more important.
Yeah.
She can't be just like some, minor custodian of a small issue down at the border. She has to go down there and be like, it's Armageddon, there's people dying and just mass graves and it's a concentration camp.
It's basically like news media, right? They sensationalize everything, right? They make it way worse than it is, just to get those views and those people looking at them.
Well, I mean, put it this way, just why would you cover a murder? So let's say there's a drive-by. Mm-hmm. They cover the drive-by for a few reasons, but one of the reasons they cover a drive-by on not like, hey, 2 house cats were killed by coyotes last night in this neighborhood. They do that because it's more sensational, it's more dramatic, it's going to get more views. So moderation is lost. I mean, the internet basically put a bullet in the back of the head of moderation.
Yeah, that's true. So we can look at anything we want at any time, right? So something has to be really special to get people to look at it.
You got to one up. You got to always ramp up. Mm-hmm. And so, if someone's going to show you, faces of death, I don't know, it just gets more and more extreme. And I guess there's a natural gravity towards that. But I don't know. Maybe there's something to be said for toning things back and shit. I don't want to get into a porn discussion, but I remember fapping to a picture of a topless woman.
Yeah, just boobs, nothing else.
When was the last time you fapped to a still image of a topless woman? What? We've gone into hyperdrive, and it's oh my god!
The last time you had a sticky magazine.
Right. If I don't see a goat just penetrating 3 women, I'm just not even.
Really good.
Horrend, like a paedophile or somebody who's committed, mass murders or something.
There goes.
Of course, they bring up pedophile, right? These guys are obsessed with that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's never a conversation that goes by without.
Yeah.
Unless if it's somebody who is political, if you start disavowing, you will never stop disavowing.
Is that the new word for them? Disavowing?
Snowball of disavowment.
Yeah. Is that the new word for them? Is that what they're going to be using all the time? Disavow this, disavow that?
Well, so from what I gather, there's a bunch of people on the right, and they agree on a lot of stuff, and they want to be allies, but they have some disagreements, so therefore they flame each other.
Yeah, that's basically what happened. It's like the traditional... Well,
this happens on the left.
The trad life conservatives are going against the mainstream conservatives, or at least the modern conservatives.
Okay. I think.
Oh, sorry. Were you going to say something?
Well, I was going to say the Justice Democrats have been primarying all the establishment Democrats, and they basically have a 2-front war with the right and the left.
Yeah.
So it happens on the left all the time.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm gonna run, guys.
All right, Billy.
Have a good night.
Good night, man.
Thank you, Benny.
I was telling Tonka before, it's funny how these are the guys who always talk about the left eating itself, but basically what's happening here is that the right's eating itself. Yeah.
Although they would find that to be degenerate if you could actually
eat yourself. Degenerate behavior. Let's go for another 15 minutes and then end it too. It's getting late.
What we've got here is, I think we've got our the crux of our little emergent disagreement here. I think, and I'll just run it past you, see if you agree. Nick's very carefully not disavowing these people. He's just claiming that they're not him.
Bold statement.
Yeah.
He's dancing on a tightrope. He's dancing on a tightrope. But the thing about that is
it is a political game, and I think he's doing it well, and so it's not a disloyalty thing. It's a tactical thing. That's where I say like Nick's tactics are good. Doing that, it's not a disavowal. He just says that guy.
You people are hilarious. You're absolutely hilarious, and the reason you're such a parody is because there's people in the chat and you coming out with this nonsense. Oh well.
You see, he keeps looking at the
Dude,
chat.
he's getting there, yeah.
You know, this is a clever optics game. This is a clever optics game. Nick's just saying this. Nick's walking a fine line. Do you know what? Charlie Kirk and his supporters are saying exactly the same about Nick and his supporters. Oh, it's a clever optics game. It's a clever optics game. We've just got to walk this fine line. And all of you are having what you do and what you say defined for you by your enemies. And Charlie Kirk is going to call Nick a Nazi. And you know what? Nick has been on shows with Mike Enoch, brandished a flick knife on shows. He's done all of this crazy stuff. He said all of these provocative things, and all of these things will be painted by the mainstream press in such a way that normies who are reading it will see him as basically mini David Duke anyway. And all the tiny slight differences that we see when we look at this under a microscope are absolutely indistinguishable to the
Yeah, I can't even stomach that guy. Like, that actually took away from the quality of my life.
Yeah.
Just like the last 2 minutes.
You know, what I find...
He's pretty vacuous, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, it says a bunch of nothing. And who cares?
No, you know what I find really funny is that he thinks the mainstream media cares about Nick Fuentes and Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, like,
they don't give a shit.
Right, like BBC is going to do an expose on Nick Fuentes.
Yeah, who gives a shit? Nobody cares about it.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna end this. I'm kind of getting a headache listening to this fucking ringtone.
I got a video premiering anyway in a minute.
Oh, good, yeah. All right, so
not bad.
Tonka, thanks for coming on. Devin, thanks, man.
Yeah, this is
good.
Thanks everybody who's showing up in the chat, and thanks for the super chats, guys. It's really nice of you. See ya.
Later.
Yeah.